This episode is presented by State Farm. Having insurance isn't the same as having State Farm. It's like needing the protection of an offensive guard on the football field, but getting an elementary school crossing guard. Sure, they're both guards, but you can only trust one to keep your quarterback safe when the game is on the line. So don't settle for just any insurance when there's State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Good morning, Crust. It's a great day to be a bread brother.
Ugh, mornings are not my jam. Or jelly.
Oh, come on. Stop loafing around.
I just woke up feeling hollow inside.
Just grab one of the new Morning Uncrustables sandwiches, like Bright-Eyed Berry or Up and Apple, filled with 12 grams of protein and tons of deliciousness. Crust, what are you eating?
It's just granola, not even yogurt.
No crust, no fuss. Uncrust your mornings.
Live from New York. It's a show that's wishing you a very happy holiday.
Yes,
I'm really in the Christmas spirit.
Are you?
Oh, big time.
Wow.
I might make a gingerbread house tonight.
You want to know something? I don't know if it's embarrassing, but it's just true. Guess what me and my wife and daughters did last night?
Saw the tree.
Decorated the Christmas tree.
That's way too late.
I know.
That is, wow.
It was
that
way
is
too
good.
late. I know, but we traveled for Thanksgiving to see my grandbaby, and then my wife traveled because she went to Traveler. My daughter was back from college. We were busy people.
Was the tree sitting
The tree was
naked for a while?
sitting there naked.
Not cool.
I'm just
How
telling
long
you.
will it stay up?
That's what I made the executive decision. It's staying up till Valentine's. I said it because it makes me happy to have it,
It's
but it
nice.
was just,
Yeah, you should have put ornaments
We
on.
did
the
ours
tree.
the day after Thanksgiving.
Well, you're
Yes,
empty
that's just to let
nesters,
you-
Brou.
yeah.
You
Well,
got
we
nothing
had
to
the
do.
whole, I had my
Coming
daughter,
down.
my son-in-law,
January
my
2nd.
future son-in-law, my daughter. Probably second week of January, maybe.
Second week.
Maybe first week.
You got to do it when the son-in-laws are in town. Make them take care of
No,
it.
it's a dry tree.
That's the benefit of
Light.
having son-in-laws now.
First hour, first things first, with some more holiday tales throughout the week. Today, 5 touchdowns for Brock Purdy, 2 for Phillip
Are we
Rivers.
going to talk?
Yes. We talked about the 49ers.
The show rule
We'll pick
is
the
we only
49ers
talk
to do
Purdy
something.
when he throws interceptions. Thank God he threw that last interception. He might not be in the rundown. My gosh.
Meanwhile, John
Golly.
Harbaugh talks job security. Is it time for a change in Baltimore? And Brou has a list, the top 10 coaches he wants with their coordinators detail.
Do not believe that.
All right, coming in at number 5.
Bob
Dan-
Saleh's going to be a candidate.
I actually like that
think
a
it
lot.
would-
I don't think
want
in
Saleh.
Baltimore, but I think he'll be a candidate.
Finally, Bru's Ballot and an icy edition of Mahomes Mountain. Second week without Mahomes on the mountain.
He's injured.
He's off the mountain.
He's injured.
Really the return of the prince.
Oh, he
I
never
saw somebody on there who's injured, though.
Who?
Lamar.
Oh, stop it. Lamar
He's
hasn't.
hurt. not
No,
injured.
no.
Oh, really?
Well, he's not out for
Well,
the
no,
year.
he hasn't. You have to miss a game to be knocked off. Like Jordan Love has a concussion, so that's a different story. But no, Lamar got hurt during the game, but he's expected to play this week.
All right.
He didn't tear his ACL.
He's hampered.
That's true. We start with a historically great game from Brock Purdy. Threw 5 touchdowns to wrangle the Colts, moved to 11-4. They now control their own destiny for the 1 seed, dependent, of course, on your view of existentialism. Here's Brock Purdy.
Everybody just did their job. Feel like Kyle was in his bag with his play calls and the run game, the O-line just doing a great job for Christian, and then obviously the pass game to be able to dish it out to a bunch of guys and then make plays. Like, it was just a team effort across the board.
You said Kyle was in his bag. What do you mean by that?
I mean, just the play calls. Everything was, I just feel like it timed out really good. The play action pass, all the things. He did a great job calling plays.
Here's our 75th graphic featuring Brock Purdy, Steve Young, and Joe Montana. This one's for 5 pass touchdown games over the last 50 years, including the playoffs. Brock Purdy last night. Brou, do you want to go since we never talk about the 49ers on the show and all of a sudden they're your favorite team, although you didn't pick them to go far in the playoffs?
I picked them to make the playoffs.
Okay.
I picked them to make the playoffs, and they've had a ton of injuries. They might be,
true.
if injuries befell my Packers, if that's the right word.
Yeah.
Then
I think they will.
maybe I'll go
pick.
with the.
You
I
do
might-
like
I
the
might go with
Eagles too.
Niners. I
but
like the Eagles.
Yeah.
I got some options out there. What's the question?
What was your number 1 takeaway?
2 words.
Okay.
Mac who? Say it with me, Wiles.
What?
Mac who?
He would have done the same thing.
Oh, really? Really?
Maybe,
when has he ever thrown
maybe,
5 touchdowns?
Well,
did he even do it in college?
Even the whole quote
Maybe
was like
high
Kyle
school?
Shanahan was doing his thing.
Of course. Was he?
I was just a vessel.
Purdy is a humble guy. He's not going to go up there and
Oh, my God.
He's a humble guy.
It's just,
you just justified why I said Mac.
No,
when you said he would have done the same thing.
he may have.
He hasn't thrown 5 touchdowns since high school.
Well, when is last time Brock Purdy did?
Last night, all right, against an NFL team, against a darn near playoff team.
No,
a team with a winning record.
Barely.
A team with a winning
Not
record.
for long.
Look, let me not diss Mac Jones.
What? That's your whole thesis.
Mac, you did a great job. You did what a backup quarterback is supposed to do.
He did a little more
you
than
went
that.
in there. Well, we've seen Cooper Rush, other guys do well as backups. I mean, Jacoby Brissett. Like, backup quarterbacks usually have 4 or 5. He played 8 games. They were 5-3. He played well. But they usually have a string of, where they can play well, and then they're gonna go downhill. I don't know that he would have went downhill, but he was playing well. He did a good job.
Okay.
But last night is why there's no quarterback controversy in the Bay. Okay. All right. When you do so, you showed the graphic. There's no Mac Jones, Steve Young, Joe Montana graphic.
I'm not sure.
All right. There is none. There is a
cooking.
Brock Purdy, Steve Young, Joe Montana graphic. You do something that hasn't been done in 30 years, that's impressive, all right? And here's the thing I liked about last night, Nick. He was throwing the ball well downfield.
Yeah.
And we had seen
played
him.
a great game.
Yeah, we had seen him have some trouble. You can. Maybe that was the toe, because obviously, can you plant and everything like that? Yeah. But I thought him throwing the ball downfield, like, he didn't look hurt at all.
No.
There was no I don't know what the state of his toe is, but it appears to be fine. But he was threading needles, as you see right there, threw the ball well deep, played really well. And the good thing for the Niners fans is this is kind of what's been going on. Here's this: they won their last 5 games. They're 5-1 with Purdy, I think, or 6-1. But last 5 games, passer ratings great. Look at they're leading the league in points, 34 a game. TD to interception ratio is nice. He's accurate. Like, he's really starting to find his groove. And that was a big takeaway. If their defense, Nick, I'm not sure yet if they're like a real legit Super Bowl contender.
I think the defense could get them.
Yeah, and we're going to find out.
Yep.
I think these next 2 weeks, and you don't always want to. I mean, they would go into the playoffs on a 7-game win streak. That's good, or
You want a good loss in there?
well, no, but I would like to see them win these games,
Well,
then that would tell me, okay, they got a shot to get.
It also
the
would give
one
them the
seed.
1 seed.
It give them the 1 seed,
Yeah.
and then it just would they already beat Seattle. They've beaten some good teams. They beat the Rams.
Their last 2 are at home. The Super Bowl's in Santa Clara.
Yeah.
And if they win the next 2, they don't travel.
Then you
again.
got to figure, and they will have beaten some really good teams this
no
year.
doubt.
So it's going to be interesting.
Listen, I agree with you I worry about how that defense is going to do against the Bears' run game this coming weekend. Like, that's to me a real concern. But on last night, listen, Purdy was exceptional. There's no denying it, and I agree with kind of the point Wildes was alluding to a degree, which is the Colts' pass defense is, particularly post-Sauce Gardner, is in shambles, but it doesn't matter. Like, 5 touchdowns scored, putting up 48 points.
No one's done that.
Right.
That was the best game against them.
Against
and they
them,
played some great quarterbacks.
No doubt. So, like, Purdy was great, but I thought we were done with the Mac Jones-Purdy
I
argument.
did, too.
I didn't even know we were doing
I did, too.
No, but because I just had a little inkling Brou was going to go there,
He made a graphic.
Listen, I think Brock Purdy is definitively slightly better than Mac Jones.
That's good.
And I think this year, so I agree with you, Brou, if he's healthy, there shouldn't be a quarterback controversy. Because if you show their numbers this year, and this is kind of to my point forever about the Niners quarterback situation, that Kyle Shanahan is a bit of a stimulus program for quarterbacks. This is the same players, or the same position, same team this season. And I think the guy on the left, even though Mac Jones throws for a little more yards, the guy on the left is better. Now, is he drastically better? Is he demonstrably better? I don't think so. Brou probably thinks he's more better than Mac Jones than I do, but he's obviously better than Mac.
Well, I think one of the big not to cut you off.
Yeah, no.
One of the big differences is just Purdy's mobility.
I totally agree with.
Because Mac did a great job. But Purdy's mobility makes it.
I think his ceiling's higher, and I think healthy he's better. I just think how good you think any of these players are really has to, like, if you think Mac, not you, the generic you, if you think Mac Jones is like a legitimate starting quarterback in this league, then you probably think Purdy is an excellent quarterback. If you think, like I do, like Mac Jones is a backup quarterback in this league, when you see his ability to put up 80% of the numbers Brock does, then you don't think Brock necessarily, even though the numbers are there, is an excellent quarterback. But that's, to me, the story of the Niners season, even though for our show it will always be Brock Purdy, no matter what, is two people that are not Brock Purdy. It is Christian McCaffrey and it is Kyle Shanahan. And on McCaffrey, he is now 150 yards away, 151, I think, from being 1,000 again. That's all of the seasons ever.
Pretty amazing.
Christian McCaffrey as a Panther, Marshall Faulk, greatest show on turf year, and Roger Craig, one of the underrated great players of the 80s. Because when you think of the 80s Niners, they think Montana, you think Rice, obviously, you think Ronnie Lott. Roger Craig was unbelievable.
That's not a guarantee he'll get that, though.
No. 150 is hard, but he has been so prolific receiving the ball this year, and if you show where he is numbers-wise, he's second in the league in yards from scrimmage. He's third in the league in touchdowns. He's first in the league in touches, more on that in a second, and being sixth in the league in receptions as a back is crazy. This also speaks to, in my opinion, even though we look at this year's Niners as, think about next year when they get Warner and Bosa back, that I do think it is incumbent on them to see if maybe they've had a lot of years where it looked like they could win a Super Bowl and they fell just short. This year they were kind of written off because of the injuries, maybe sneak up on people. Because Christian McCaffrey leading the league by a mile in touches, to me, is not a recipe for next year Christian McCaffrey having this type of impact. Like they are pressing the Christian McCaffrey button more than any other team is pressing the button.
I think that means they're going for it.
They are obviously going for it. They should, of course.
It's wide open whether you consider them one of those teams or not.
And I think Shanahan deserves a real Coach of the Year consideration.
There's some great candidates.
Ben Johnson's a good candidate.
Liam Cohen.
Sean Payton, Liam Cohen are good candidates.
Probably Liam Cohen.
Because Coach of the Year is always kind of a sneaky diss.
Yeah.
It's like we thought you were going to be bad, you ended up being good. But I just don't know how many other coaches in the NFL could have their starting quarterback out 2 months, pardon me. All those injuries on defense, what turned into a difficult schedule and what I think we all believe is the single best division in football. I mean, you have to if you have 3 11 or 12-win teams. And they're alive for the 1 seed with 2 weeks to go. It's pretty unbelievable.
Games missed by starters, most among current playoff teams. San Francisco, 62. Buffalo, 59. We don't really talk about the Bills missing guys, but they are. In Carolina, and all we do is talk about how many people are missing for the Chargers. San Francisco hosts the Bears on Sunday.
Did you see that graphic that was on the game when the most yards from scrimmage for a career, and it was Jim Brown, Barry Sanders, Christian McCaffrey, and Walter Payton per game.
Per game. I was going to say because Emmett's got to be up there.
But total yards from scrimmage.
Yards from scrimmage per game is crazy.
Catching, running.
On the other side of the ball, Phillip Rivers completes 23 passes for over 275, 2 touchdowns in his second game off the couch. New York Times playoff predictor, however, puts the Colts down at 1% to make the playoffs.
Dead.
Well, they could win out and get up to 23%, according to the New York Times playoff predictor.
They're dead.
What was your number one takeaway from Phillip Rivers' performance?
Look, I mean, obviously what he's doing is incredible. Now, I'm going to give 2 big takeaways. Okay. And I don't mean this is not in any way, not even a smidge of a diss to the modern day quarterback. But I do just think it speaks. A guy that's been away 5 years, that's 44 years old, that 3 weeks ago was on the couch, can come in and play pretty well. I mean, last night he almost threw for 300 yards. I think that speaks to how it's not easy, but it's easier to play quarterback today than it was 20 years ago. Because you're not getting hit. Like, that was our biggest concern about him was, is he going to get hurt? You don't, not that you still can't get hurt, obviously, but you used to be at the clock quarterbacks anywhere. Down low, up high, you could hit them hard wherever you wanted. And receivers, too. You can hit them across the middle and stuff like that. So I think that makes it a little easier for him. He's not as worried as much about getting hit because of the new rules changes. But the second takeaway, Nick, is is he like a viable option for them next season? Obviously, you'd love to have Daniel Jones. He's injured.
But he tore his Achilles.
Right.
It's going to be time.
If you can go get a Mac Jones, then sure. Because I think Mac might be a starter. It's like Darnold.
Yeah, but he's under contract. You'd have to trade
Right. So
for him.
you'd have to. And I don't know, because of Purdy's had some injuries, do they give him up?
They have Anthony Richardson.
Well, look, okay.
He's better than Anthony
If you bring in Anthony, if you got Anthony Richardson, and if Rivers is willing to come, then I would maybe have Richardson penciled in as my starter and Rivers right behind him. And if Anthony's not ready from training camp, then you could go with Rivers.
You try to have the backup and the starter be a little bit of,
similar.
two peas in a pod.
Yeah.
That
That's totally different. I think the only thing that might, and I don't even know if Rivers would do it, but the only thing that might hinder him if he were to play next year, he can't throw the deep ball, clearly. You saw that last night. Now, maybe his arm would get stronger over time, I guess. But that, I think, defenses knowing he can't throw it 40 yards down the field would make them more predictable and maybe not as
I also
successful.
think if Phillip Rivers is considering any of this, the idea of a training camp competition, if I'm Phillip Rivers, I'm like, I don't think I'll be doing training camp, guys. I was on my couch until December.
And I'm
I'll be there.
Just so you know,
watch.
like hit me up Labor Day-ish and see what's going on. I'm as stunned by this as any NFL development since I've been on TV. I was thoroughly convinced that it's not that it was silly, it was so irresponsible that I thought the league maybe should step in. Like, I was saying that. Like, I'm not going to run from that take. I have been utterly stunned at how more than competent he's been, and as they did a good job showing on the broadcast last night and social media cut-ups today, how much what he's able to diagnose pre-snap solves problems that I thought were going to come, which is there's never a free rusher coming at him because he knows where it's coming and he's getting the ball out so quick. So for Rivers, I give him a ton of credit. I poked at Shane Steichen for saying he was so, thought his system was the whole thing. They have gotten better quarterback play than they were going to get from Riley Leonard or from anybody else. So I was stone wrong on that. Now, the team is in the midst of an all-time collapse anyway. They were 7-1, and since then they have one win and it's in overtime. And I would just remind everyone to think about the end of the Cowboys season and the end of the Colts season. Next year, NFL trade deadline day, when we are just a guy, future picks, schmoocher picks. This team's going for it.
I like them.
Good for them. Okay.
Well, Sauce got hurt.
Yeah.
If that was an issue,
were they last night a Sauce Gardner away from being a competitive team?
I don't know if he would have thrown 5 touchdowns
Jones was
if Sauce
healthy.
Gardner was out there.
Here,
I agree. I didn't think they were the best team in the AFC anyway, but I'm just saying they didn't know Daniel Jones was going to get hurt.
I understand, but last night, Phillip Rivers gave you Daniel Jones level production. And if you think, I disagree, it's fine, you can think it, that one corner was going to be the difference between the Niners hanging 48 on them and them winning. The Colts are now in a spot And yeah, they got unlucky. Their quarterback got hurt. But that's why you don't make rash decisions when you're a team at the deadline who has beaten the Titans twice, the Raiders, the Cardinals, and Miami, to have a slightly inflated 7-1 record to trick yourself into believing we're going to win the Super Bowl this year.
Well, you're going to be 7-1 and be like, well, we're the Colts.
No, there's a difference between you could make moves around the margins like the Seahawks did, trading a mid-round pick for a player, Rashid Shaheed, who's made a difference, and trading multiple first-round picks. And now, by the way, the pick they sent to New York is going to be around the 16th pick this coming year. And Brou's talking about that team having to start a 45-year-old Phillip Rivers next year because they don't have a quarterback. Like it is.
I like going for it, man.
You can't keep your powder dry if you're 7-1.
They were 7-1, but I don't think anybody actually thought they were the best team in football.
No.
And I think everybody thought, okay, this is a good story, and maybe Daniel Jones is going to keep this heater up. But there's a difference between going for it and putting your whole 401k on black on the roulette table and being like, well, we'll see. And that's what they did. And if you're a Colts fan, it feels like now you're super stuck amidst a really bad
collapse. Could you see Rivers there next year?
I think Rivers is going to.
I wonder why. The thing is, why even play him these last few games? I mean, I guess they still got a little life.
As my coworker once said, because he's a football player.
I think he wouldn't want to go. I think that he wants to try to have one last win.
Yeah,
he didn't come back.
I would think they'd try Riley Leonard.
See
if he can play.
This is awesome. This is putting butts in the seat.
It is awesome. I actually wonder about next year. I do.
Colts host the Jags Sunday at 1. Head to San Francisco for some NBA. Third quarter, Warriors down 5 to the Magic. Draymond and Steve Kerr get into it. Draymond then heads back to the locker room, spent the rest of the quarter there, but came back to the bench for the fourth. Warriors went on a 41-18 run with Draymond gone, and they win easily. Here's Kerr and Draymond on the interaction or lack thereof.
We got into it, obviously, and I took the time out just because I thought we lost our focus there a little bit. We had it out a little bit, and, he made his decision to go back to the locker room to cool off, and that's all I'm going to say about it.
He didn't play the last 20 minutes. Would you have gone back to
No, he wasn't going back in.
Temper spilled over, and I just thought it was best that I get out of there. I don't think there was a situation where it was going to get better. So it was just best to remove myself.
Your reaction, bro?
Well, terrible situation. You hate to see it. But I will say this. I think after the incident, I think everyone has handled it the right way, including Draymond. I guess this is during the incident. It's unfortunate that he doesn't have the self-control or the anger management to not worry that I might do something I regret. But it's responsible of him if he's that volatile and knows my anger is what it is. There's a guy that knocked out a teammate once to get up and leave. It should have never got to that, but I will give him credit for just being like, look, now if you think he's lying and he could have sat there, I'm saying that's what they say. If you can't control yourself, get out of the situation. So for him to leave, so I thought that was good, even though it's sad that you can't control yourself. I thought it was good that Jimmy Butler, Buddy Hield, and Al Horford went back to check on him, because I was wondering, is this gonna, like, a guy like Butler, does he look at this and like, what am I doing here? Like, this is, or Horford,
I'm
Horford,
a babysitter.
Right, right. And so for them to check on their teammate, I thought was good. For Draymond to come back out to watch the fourth quarter on the bench was good. I thought for Kerr to not play him and to let you know the reason I'm not playing him is because he made the decision to get up and leave the team. Like, you set a standard. If Kerr had put him back in the game, I would have been like, dude, where's the leadership? And then Steph came out and said to the reporters, I think the question is a little more negative than it really is. He understood it, and the questions were good. But I agree with Steph that this is freaking Draymond Green and Steve Kerr. How many times have they had blow-ups that we know of, and then there's probably many more that we don't know of? All right, this happens. I think this is a good story for the media for a day or two, and it will blow over, and they will be back to normal, because this is normal with the Warriors.
I am constantly amazed at what a great person you are, Brou. I mean that. I really mean that. Like that was the kindest reading of it, and everything you said is correct.
I think Draymond was wrong. Don't get me wrong.
Everything you said is correct. Like, if we just take for a given that this is a grown 35-year-old man who has no self-control whatsoever, take that as just a fact of life, then he made the right decision tree. And when you put it like that, you are correct. You are correct that if in his head he's like, I'm going to do something bad, let me leave, that is the right decision to leave. The problem is that he will never grow up.
Well,
the problem is that he has not. You mentioned anger issues. I remember him going to anger management after, I forget which Eastern European player he clocked, one of them, and when he was suspended. And Draymond's got to be careful, because the juice has always been worth the squeeze with Draymond Green when it comes to winning. But the squeeze is getting so much harder, and there's less and less juice every year. And this team's not going to be good. They're fine. They're a 500 team. Since they've won the championship, they've been a play-in level team every year. They're a play-in level team right now. Draymond is having basically his worst individual season since he became a starter, aside from maybe the year Steph broke his hand. And everybody knows Draymond doesn't like to play basketball unless Steph Curry's there as well. If I were Draymond, I would try to be on my best behavior until the trade deadline. Assuming I want to be on the Warriors. Because this is unacceptable. It's flatly unacceptable. It could have been worse. And you are being, I think, incredibly charitable and giving him credit for it not being worse. But you are a future Hall of Famer, one of the older players in the league, leader of your team, and you just can't. You have to take your ball and go home. And then your other teammates, in the midst of a comeback, have to go check on you. It's pro sports. You just can't act like that. And so I think Steve Kerr is nearing his limit. I don't know that he's at his limit, but I think he's nearing his limit on wanting to deal with it, especially for a 500 team.
I agree with that.
Draymond and Steve Kerr, 898 games together, 9th most all time in most for an active coach-player duo.
Nearly home. Isn't home where we all want to be? Reba here for Realtor.com, the pros' #1 most trusted app. Finding a home is like dating. You're not just looking for a place to live, you're searching for the one. That's where Realtor.com comes in. Like any good matchmaker, they know exactly where to look. With over 500,000 new real listings straight from the pros every month, you could find your perfect match today. Ranch style with a pool, barn dominium with an in-law suite, Realtor.com's got them. Modern craftsman with a big yard and a treehouse out back, Realtor.com will have you saying, yep, that's the one. No more swiping. It's time to start finding. Download the Realtor.com app today, cause you're nearly home. Make it real with Realtor.com.
Pros #1 most trusted app based on August 2024 proprietary survey. Over 500,000 new listings every month based on average new for sale and rental listings. February 2024 through January 2025.
Hey, share the podcast if you get a chance, and we're a few million views away from 1 billion views. By a few, I mean like 30. But still, 30 million views, bang out 1 million views a week. Let's get a day.
A day? We do 1 million a day.
1 million a day, buddy.
Don't shortchange us.
Why not?
You're trying to get Gianna fired.
No.
If we don't get to 1 billion, she's out.
Also, a special holiday edition of First Things First Overtime. It's 10 a.m. to noon. What time's the meeting?
early.
Like that.
As you can see, Coach's height.
If that graphic were a seesaw, Danny's to the moon. I knew that would make Coach laugh.
So true.
Oh, you're on that John Harbaugh's Ravens are a game under 500 on the verge of missing the playoffs. They need to win out, and the Steelers need to lose out. And, of course, Week 18 is Steelers-Ravens in Pittsburgh. Here's Harbaugh on his job security.
And it's never been about keeping a job. And there's no such thing as, like, your job or my job. You know, we have responsibilities. We're given opportunities to steward those responsibilities, and you're given a job to do that until you're not, you know, and then you try to do the best. I try to do the job, not try to keep the job, because there's no such thing as having a job, just doing a job. And so my focus is on always, and has been for the last 18 years here and the last 41 years in coaching.
I kind of like that, I think. You didn't like it?
That's what it
I
was
like
fine.
do the job, don't keep the job. I don't know if I agree with there's no such thing as having a job.
Yeah. It's fine.
Maybe. Is it fair to pin the Ravens issue on Harbaugh before you give your top 10 coaching candidates?
No. Not solely on John Harbaugh. I mean, this is a group effort, all right? I mean, the injuries are real. Lamar missed, 3 games? He's been hindered and missing practice for the last month, essentially, month and a half, 2 months, whatever. Matabuke, remember, they lost him. They have no pass rush. So that Matabuke out. And then they had a lot of guys. Remember early in the season when the defense was struggling, a lot of that was injuries. All right. So the injuries are there. The fumbles I can't put on Harbaugh. Derrick Henry, who knows if he doesn't fumble and they beat Buffalo week 1, maybe things go differently. Zay Flowers has fumbled and, cost them some games. So, and then Lamar's play. I mean, Lamar deserves a lot of this blame because of the way he played during that 5-game stretch. He was bad against Cincinnati and Pittsburgh. 2 games we would have thought they would have won.
That is correct.
And had he played his normal game, maybe they probably win. And they're in the playoffs right now. So I don't put it all on Harbaugh. And, Coach, if he was in his 3rd, 4th, 5th year, something like that, and let's say it won a Super Bowl somewhere else, because that's one of his big things, I won a Super Bowl, I wouldn't even be thinking he should be on the hot seat. This would be like, okay, Lamar was banged up, didn't play well. A lot of players were injured. It's a bad season. He's a good coach. No. It's just that he's been there 18 years, and it feels like it's time for a new voice. Obviously, there's the game strategy things we've talked about, not running the ball sometimes when you feel they should. But overall, it just seems stale. And this seems like this is the final straw, and they need to get something fresh in the building, is my view.
Wow, that was like a roller coaster of emotions for me, because initially when you're talking, I'm like, God, I wish Brou was a beat writer when I was a because he is making some compelling points as to why John should stay. And it was excellent. I'm like, of course you're going to.
But then he fired him at the end.
Yeah, and then he quickly flipped, like, but he's been there a long time, so we got to get rid of this guy. So it was a little bit of a whirlwind there. I believe John when he says that he doesn't focus on keeping the job. He focuses on doing the job. And I think that when he was explaining the rotation and why Derrick Henry didn't get the ball, all that to me is true. And that does happen. Sometimes you go in with a plan and you can lose track of who's in at different moments as a head coach. But you don't want to lose track of it in this pivotal moment, at this pivotal point in the season. Like that can happen during the course of the season. It said the timing was as bad as it could be. And he may be in a point where he but he gives the coordinators a lot of room to work, which can be very good. But also as a head coach, you got to make sure you're getting what you want. And if he wants Derrick Henry to be in the game, regardless of what the rotation is, regardless of what they decided prior, then Derrick Henry needs to be in the game. You can't lose track of that. But I see the sincerity in his comments, and I believe him when he says he's about doing the job, not keeping his job. And look, if he gets fired, he'll maybe do TV for a year and have 5 offers the following year with a raise.
So I think the Harbaugh-Lamar relationship's run its course. and they're not, and they shouldn't move on from Lamar, so there's only one other option. Now, I think to your point, there's a lot of culpability here. Yeah. You mentioned Derrick Henry's fumble in week 1. He then fumbled in the fourth quarter of week 3 when it was a one-score game to the Lions. So Derrick Henry has a critical error in week 1 loss and week 3 loss. Lamar, fully healthy, plays his first awful regular season game in more than a year in week 4 against Kansas City. Yep. And that was that game was, they were down 17 when he left with injury. Right. Like that game was over in that moment. And then to your point, when Lamar came back from injury, it's so weird because his first game back from injury, he was sensational. He had 4 touchdowns, a 130-something passer rating, and then started this cold streak when it wasn't the hamstring anymore, seemingly. It was the knee, then ankle, then toe. But they won those games. Yeah. Right. And then when he was no longer listed as injured is when they played those 2 games where he was brutal and they lost, which ended their season for all intents and purposes. And so that is your star quarterback, who is the 2-time defending first-team All-Pro, who's having, I think it's fair to say, all things considered, his worst season since his rookie year. Yes. That gets people fired. And when you've been banging on the door like that, people get fired. And you don't break through, people get fired. I think something really weird is going on between the Harbaugh-Lamar relationship at this point. I can't read the injury reporting stuff any other way. I personally thought it was weird the way Harbaugh described Lamar's injury yesterday. I would have.
But it's been weird for a while.
Correct. Yeah, right.
And he's been going back beyond this year.
Every week, it doesn't make sense.
Agreed. And so
That hits your radar too, or is it like Nick is kind of on an island with this?
No, I don't think Nick's on an island at all.
No, you're fine.
When you're missing a day a week, and at the end of every week, everything's fine.
Right.
And then you come out and play, and we all know what Lamar looks like when he's healthy, and he plays the way that he's playing. It doesn't add up, and I would imagine that is going to frustrate a lot of people in Vegas because it's not corresponding to what the sheet says.
And it felt to me like Harbaugh didn't let him off the hook with his comments yesterday. Right. I thought John Harbaugh basically saying, we expect him to play, I'm paraphrasing, but there's no worries about him missing this week. It's a bruise on his back. Makes the fact that your superstar quarterback didn't even attempt to go back by attempt. I mean, didn't take a series in the second half. It made it seem weird. If he'd have come back and like, man, we'll see how Lamar treatment progresses like that. That's not what he did. And so I know you think I'm reading too much into it, which it's totally fine. Like maybe I'm wrong.
It's been too consistent for it not to be something.
And so I just feel like that. And Lamar would never do this because Lamar is, I don't think, people, when I criticized Lamar last week, people sent me videos of him doing charity stuff. Like, I don't think Lamar is a bad guy in the least. And Lamar's too good of a guy to publicly flame his coach. He's not going to do that. But I think if Lamar got the news, if Steve Bisciotti called him like, hey, we're going to move on from Harbaugh, I don't think he's disappointed. I think Lamar is ready for a change there. And be careful what you wish for. You spin the wheel, you don't know.
He's a unique type of quarterback.
Right, and so all that, but I think that's what's coming.
Coach, I was joking around that Brou called for Harbaugh's
Thank
job.
You for putting that
and I wanted to have like a full list of coordinators. Without naming names, because I know you don't like to be in there, what type of coach would be great for the Ravens? A lot of times, you see the pendulum shift from a player's coach to kind of a hard-nosed coach. What type of coach could you see fitting the Ravens culture in Lamar?
That's a great question because they haven't had any type of coach besides John for 18 years. Right. They don't even know what type of coach would fit in there well. And to me, John was such a unique hire because he came from a special teams world, and that happens so rarely in the NFL. He's he's either the only one or one of a handful of guys who've had that background.
Shout out to Joe Judge.
But I guess
wasn't great.
One worked, one didn't.
Yeah, one.
Yeah.
But I do like that, the way that they took a chance there. But it's been 18 years since they've had a coaching search. It's going to be hard for them to figure out what they want to do.
Nick, you mentioned Robert Saleh. I don't know if you were kind of joking, but he obviously is great defensively. And that's kind of been their culture. I mean, him having a great quarterback
could
you would
solve
think,
a lot
right.
of the issues from the Jets. I wasn't joking. I think he'll get another look.
That's interesting.
I also think that had he made slightly different decisions maybe in his personal life or maybe just stayed in TV, we would all be saying this is where Bill Belichick's going to go. I think that that would be, but I think because North Carolina hasn't gone great, and because I think his personal relationship has now become a legitimate story that makes people question whether or not he still has his fastball, for lack of a better term.
I don't know if Bisciotti would be up for the Belichick.
Oh, so that maybe that's, but I just, in years past, there has been like this head coach in waiting. Last year we thought it was Belichick. You know what I mean? It was Jim Harbaugh. It was Sean Payton.
McCarthy.
Mike McCarthy is the name that's going to come up. That feels like, even though he won a Super Bowl as well, that would feel uninspiring.
Yeah, but let's see how the rest of the season plays out and whether or not.
I mean, maybe they get into the playoffs.
You know,
and then who knows?
Pittsburgh, who knows what's going to happen there.
Right.
Coming up next, a special edition of Brou's Ballot in the weirdest and most wonderful plays in the whole sports world. I looked at the whole sports world. Came up with 4 plays.
Nearly home. Isn't home where we all want to be? Reba here for Realtor.com, the pros' #1 most trusted app. If you're hearing me, I'm going to assume you're awake. And if you aren't, because while you're snoozing, someone else might be finding your dream home. That's where Realtor.com comes in. With over 500,000 new real listings straight from the pros every month, that's a lot of chances to find the place you've been dreaming of. Whether you're searching for a 2-story mid-century with a pool or a little extra space with a spa-inspired bathroom, Realtor.com can help you find it today. So quit hitting that snooze button. Realtor.com isn't sleeping on finding your dream home, and neither should you. Download the Realtor.com app today, 'cause you're nearly home. Make it real with Realtor.com.
Pro's #1 most trusted app based on August 2024 proprietary survey. Over 500,000 new listings every month based on average new for sale and rental listings. February 2024 through January 2025.
Christian McCaffrey racked up almost 150 yards while scoring 2 touchdowns last night in a win over the Colts. He's got 8 on the ground, 7 in the air. But does he have a spot on Brou's Ballot?
I hope so.
Let's find out.
He is indeed having a great year. He is in strong consideration. I'm old school, though.
We know.
Right?
Yeah. Not old, but
I
old
remember the days, Coach, when running backs were running backs.
He doesn't care about his receiving.
And Marshall Faulk, I get it all. I want you running off tackle.
Yep, tote the rock.
And I want 4.5 yards per carry or more. It's hard for me to give the guy an MVP vote when it's 3.7 yards a carry. I get it. He's been great catching the ball in the backfield, all that. I'm old school. He was in consideration, though. So was Caleb.
Wow.
And I don't think this guy should win the MVP, or that would be a travesty. But when you get down this low at number 5, it's just a recognition.
Wow!
His
numbers are getting
what a moment!
And I kind of had to go. He's an 89 passer rating, Coach.
But passer rating's an overrated stat.
He's balling. All right,
leave it.
He is. What do I got in here to justify this? 17 touchdowns in his last 5 games.
Yeah.
All right. So, and he's 3rd in the league in total touchdowns with 33, 26 passing, 7 rushing.
7 rushing.
Again, it would be a travesty if you won the MVP, but a vote, some votes.
And he had some outstanding throws.
He's
legitimately.
And they're shocking.
Yeah.
You did pick them. Did you pick them to win the division?
Of course.
Of course. But no, they're having a great year.
Yeah.
Can I ask you this question? Because you're saying, so you think it's on the board that for the 2nd time in Trevor's career, he finishes in the top 7 in MVP voting? Because that would be pretty good.
I had trouble filling out 5. 7, I have no idea who
that would be pretty
who
good.
else was on that ballot.
2 top 7 finishes. 1,600 players in the league.
10 years from now, Nick will be saying, people said he didn't start his career off with. He had 2 top 7 finishes. MVP.
Exactly. What a good point.
That is correct.
All right, number 4, Wilds. I know you hate this. Look, I thought about taking him off because it's been a slow, for him, Because he's got 4 sacks in the last 4 games, which isn't bad. I mean, that's great, right? That's 17 for a season.
22 on the no.
Yeah, he's right.
Pretty good.
All right, I just thought he was going to destroy the record and get 26 or something like that. We'll see what he does. But anyway, he needs one more to break the record that's held for 20 years, Michael Strahan, TJ Watt. So he's number 4. And in the top 3, look, he just didn't do anything. Josh Allen, number 3. He didn't do anything last week.
Fall out, man.
I mean,
he should fall back.
Okay, I want, when we're done, because look, Drake's 2. Drake is just too. Stafford's so far ahead at this point. Drake was phenomenal last week, obviously. But Stafford's 40 touchdowns. Phenomenal. His career high is 41.
Drake had a phenomenal finish to the game.
Well, the finish. Yeah. And he almost threw for 400 yards.
Coach does not.
Stafford
his father's wild.
Is the only. Jared Goff's second with 32 touchdowns. Stafford's got 40. So that's how far out he is in front of everybody. But, okay, you don't like Josh Allen at 3. Who? Like I said, after the top 2, and then it's kind of like who you putting there?
That's a good question.
Christian McCaffrey.
Probably. Yeah, maybe.
At 3? I mean, look, I joke about his yards per attempt, but McCaffrey has had a great season.
My question,
I think it's more eye test with him.
But it's eye test, and what do we attribute? If they end up being the 1 seed, which they could be, and they are already 11-4, what do we attribute it to? Like what players? Like Shanahan obviously has done a great job. The defense has been ravaged by injury. They've played 2 different quarterbacks. Brandon Ayuk quit the team. Kittle missed time. You know, it would be that he has been the engine behind it, would be the argument.
But to Bruce's point, it is hard when you see a running back averaging 3.7 yards a carry. Now, the receptions are really impressive, and obviously everybody's been driven to stop him. But there's, I forget how many out of 15, I think 11 out of 15 games he's averaged under 4 yards a carry.
Yeah. And there have been a few games where he hasn't done much statistically at all.
Yeah, I get everybody's trying to stop him. It's just, that number is very surprising.
I just feel like if we put up his season numbers, I just feel like it's totally offset by his production in the receiving game, where as far as production, 1 player in the league has had more yards than him. 2 players in the league have had more touchdowns than him. I agree, on a carry-by-carry basis, he has not been as dynamic. I also wonder, would he have a little more burst in the run game if his usage in the receiving game wasn't the same as Amon-Ra St. Brown's damn near? Like that, you know, so I just don't know how else we assign the 49ers having the season they've had when we can't give it to one of the quarterbacks, because they've had 2 different quarterbacks for basically half the season.
What if the Broncos are the number 1 seed?
So I can assign that easily. They have the best defense in the NFL.
But no MVP candidates?
No, because I think the defense has been a collective. You know, and I guess you could say the same thing about the Niners offense, but the Niners offense, the only constant has been him.
Yeah.
And so but I mean, I'm not saying he should win the award, to be clear.
But just on
but I have no complaints at all. Trevor Lawrence just was on somebody's MVP ballot, and it wasn't my own.
He's got 10 touchdowns the last 2 games.
Yeah, and they've beaten really good teams.
That's the thing.
They beat Denver in Denver.
Yeah.
And
was right
put it on
34 points.
Streak.
They crushed the Chargers. You know, or did.
Yeah, they beat them Chargers 35-6. Brou, do you think? I wonder if Drake ends up catching Stafford.
I mean, again, how many?
I don't think it will.
No one cares about the counting stats. The Rams throw the ball when other teams run the ball. Like goal line.
They got a decent running.
But goal line, like Devontae feasts on those. That no look to Pook. And obviously they count, but
So listen,
and he does it.
I feel like
this is a little rich coming from the Jalen Hurts push touchdowns. They're all the same guy, but I do understand what you're saying. I don't think that's what will change it, though. I think some voters, if the Rams, no matter if the Rams and Pats could have identical records, and the Rams are the 5 seed and the Pats are the 1 seed, and they'll vote for May. Then we should get it. Yeah. But even if they're both 13-4,
well, for the 1 seed,
we should get it. People look at the 2 wins against winning teams, right?
Oh, KW. Don't get KW started on that.
You know the Giants have as many wins.
He does.
So when we beat the Panthers, that was an easy win. Now
That's
the
one of your
Panthers
good wins.
are over
That's
500.
a
I say that was a good win.
Hey, Fidelity. How can I remember to invest every month?
With the Fidelity app, you can choose a schedule and set up recurring investments in stocks and ETFs.
Oh, that sounds easier than I thought.
You got this.
Yeah, I do. Now, where did I put my keys?
You will find them where you left them.
Investing involves risk, including risk of loss. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC, member NYSE, SIPC.
Live from New York. It's a show that hopes the Jets do get an interception eventually, just not against Drake May.
Well, he's one of only two options they have left.
You know what? Maybe Drake May, because he's such a good guy.
Oh,
He's almost, and with Mahomes injured, just hear me out.
It's bad.
With Mahomes injured, we need a new face of the league. Maybe Drake May says, you know what's good if the Jets get an interception? New York metropolitan area. I'll throw a few bombs down there. Throw a nice pillowy ball, see if you guys can grab one.
It's like a little holiday.
Face
Yeah,
of
we'll
the
be up
league?
35, nothing.
That's not bury the lead. Face of the league?
He's a little ahead of himself.
Drake May now?
Wilds vacillates
saying,
greatly from,
Someone-
hey, it's been a
If you're
great
the MB
season no
if you're
matter
the
what.
NBA face of the league.
No, you didn't
said
say
the-
a
I
face.
thought he said the
You said
said
the
the.
face.
A face. If Mahomes is injured. It's still
No,
Mahomes.
he's one of the faces of the league this season.
Yeah.
Drake May. That's fair. He's a top.
He's been one of the best players. He's not one of the faces yet.
Well, I do think
Most
Brou
people
raises
are
a
like-
good point. I think most people don't know what his face looks like.
They have no idea.
It's like winning is what it looks like. Second hour, first things first. Today, are the Eagles peaking at the perfect time to play the Bills and ramp up into the playoffs? My buddy Dan.
Oh, we got to stop hearing about your
buddy
only
Dan.
friend. This is your only friend that isn't a relative.
Face of my friendship group. Meanwhile, Pro Bowl QBs announced. Did anyone get left out? Well, you tell me, bro.
Yes.
There's 6 quarterbacks. We just did Bruce Ballot, and he didn't make Bruce Ballot.
A bunch of them didn't make Bruce Ballot.
Just saying. But right now, you're in for a real treat. It's the holiday season up here where the air is rare. And if you're anything like me, well, I know what's on your wish list. Trip to the playoffs, a spot high atop the mountain, fresh new pair of goggles. Well, let's open up our version of a weekly sports present as we climb Mahomes Mountain. Isn't that great?
That was nice.
Can I ask you a question?
Isn't that lovely?
Really well done.
Can I ask you a question?
Sweet by me.
Because you obviously didn't put in, want to do the cool AI intro or even the green screen intro, which is fine. I'm not asking you to do that every week. Did you forget to put the goggles on?
You know what?
And then when you
not
saw
happy
it
with-
in your script, you realized they were sitting next to you, so you meekly raised them up?
I'm having a bad hair day. If I put the goggles on, I'll just never recover.
I think you have to put them on. I have bad hair days all the time.
That's true. See?
There
My
we go.
hairpiece. It's going crazy. It's time for Mahomes Mountain.
Thank you, Kevin Wilds. All right.
It does look better like
Yeah, of course.
Adds a
You're
certain gravitas
giving
to the
effort.
segment.
Especially with the snow coming.
All right, here is who's off the mountain. Now, I put Jordan Love off for injury because if you miss a game, you're off. And I assumed Love, every time a guy's gotten a concussion, they've missed.
Yeah.
Right, but it seems like they are open to the possibility that he's going to play this week. So maybe that was premature. If so, I apologize. But I thought just concussion for quarterbacks meant at least 1 week. Maybe it doesn't. Obviously, everyone else is done for the season with an injury. And then also off the mountain, Shador's performance of a 60 passer rating did not impress me the way I think it did Brou. Jackson Dart, they asked him to stop running, and as it turns out, that won't work. He had 2 passing yards in the first half, 31 in the second half. That was a problem. Tua lost his job to a guy named Quinn Ewers, who's also off the mountain. He can't play at the moment. Young player, maybe one day. Not an NFL quarterback right now. Speaking of not an NFL quarterback right now, Chris Oladukin, yikes. And then I called this guy Quinn Cook in the document. That's an old guard for the Warriors. It's Brady Cook, but I was thinking of Brady Quinn Cook, whatever. Row 7.
Quinn Cook's like, wow. Kitchens.
Nobody cares, but I have to I took all my Anthony Joshua winnings and I made one of the greatest sports bets of my life that involved the only thing I needed to happen that didn't happen was the Bucks win the game. And they didn't win the game, and I would have won basically a brand new Toyota Highlander, and now I'm just mad at Baker and I might be done with him. I'll never forgive him. Kirk Cousins falls, JJ McCarthy, what are we doing? Gino! Give him his love, bro.
He's on there?
Back up! What do you mean? Against the Texans defense? Gino was out there cooking. They almost won.
That was a strange game.
Jacoby Brissett stays. Marcus Mariota, again, I don't know if he's playing or Josh Johnson. There's too many injuries. And I put Joe Flacco back up there because of how Phillip Rivers is playing. I'm like, you know what?
I saw him. I'm like, did I miss a game?
I just thought Joe Flacco's better than the quarterbacks off the mountain. I put him on there. Phillip Rivers can do it. Joe Flacco can do it. Row 6. Bo Nix drops. You might say that's a pretty steep drop for a guy whose team is the ones who don't care. Tyler Shuck has been playing quite well. I almost wanted to move Shuck up. He has been the best rookie quarterback, I guess. I think he's been better than Cam Ward this year, but Cam Ward moved up.
Starting to play better.
Yeah, and Cam played really well against what's left of the Chiefs. Bryce, Wilds guy.
In playoffs.
Right now in the playoffs. I am stunned. What, Coach?
I've been a Carolina guy for a long time.
Yeah, but you've been a Carolina guy.
Upsets.
But Wilds is a Bryce guy.
Association.
Hold on, you're a Carolina guy. Wilds is just a Bryce guy. We all know Wilds doesn't like small southeastern markets. He doesn't like Carolina at all.
Roll Tide.
However, but he likes Bryce. Phillip Rivers, I know you're not winning. It's unbelievable what you're doing. And I just think Malik Willis, you're talking about Brou, like Colts starters next year. Malik Willis, maybe they give him 1 year, $10 million bucks as a stopgap.
Him and Anthony Richardson.
I think Anthony Richardson might be.
He's probably better. He's better, but I'm just saying, similar stuff.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I think Richardson might need to go. Maybe Richardson goes to Green Bay, gets the Matt LaFleur rehabilitation treatment. I don't know. Row 5. CJ Stroud's was very fortunate. Nobody was watching Texans Raiders.
Yeah.
Very fortunate. That offense has a big problem right now. It seemed like maybe it was fixed. It's not fixed. Again, Lamar got hurt, but I think he's going to play, so he stays on the mountain. There was an argument to move Jalen Hurts up. I understand that. We will look at who is in the top 10. I don't know who we're going to replace him with. Sam Darnold, give you immense credit for overtime. It doesn't erase the first 58 minutes of that game, so he stays where he is. Jared Goff's numbers are great. The team's mediocre. I don't know what to do with it. He stays where he is. Row 4. There you go, Brou. Brock Purdy moved up. Yay.
It's not bad.
It's good. Listen, he threw 5 touchdowns. He threw 5 touchdowns. I moved him up. I don't know what more people want from me. Dak Prescott drops a bit. Aaron Rodgers. Listen, America. I don't like it any more than you do. But the mountain is fair. Aaron Rodgers has been cooking. They're going to make the playoffs. He's feeling good. They win this week. He gets to give himself a bye, get rehab, spend some time with his wife, whatever he wants to do before the playoffs start, and see how everything's rolling. Joe Burrow, listen, has he had a row 4 or better season? He hasn't. Did he remind everyone this weekend, though, he's still Joe freaking Burrow? And, when he's happy playing football, I guess, that he's going to dominate? Yeah, I moved him back up. Row 3 might be the strongest collection of arms in the history of any row.
Wow.
There's 3 of the 4 strongest arms in the league. Josh Allen does have to move down. I understand. He has no help whatsoever except for the league's leading rusher. I get it. And an excellent offensive line. And maybe the best tight end room in the league. I get it. He has no help. He did not play his best game this weekend. I think he has been. I think he will go into the playoffs as clearly the best quarterback on his side of the bracket, even though Drake May's had the best season, but he had to move down. Herbert, after having a really tough month, but playing through injury and winning, put it all together on Sunday. and played statistically a great game in a spot his team needed. And now, in a story I don't know that anyone's fully recognized, the Chargers control their own destiny to win the AFC West. If the Chargers win the next 2 weeks against the Texans and then the Broncos, they win the AFC West, and Denver is a wild card. That's shocking, but it is what it is. And Caleb, none of it happens without the onside kick. The onside kick happened, and then Caleb had all-time moments. Now, people want to say, why didn't you do that for Darnold? Darnold had a nice drive. Caleb had maybe the two best throws of the year, and I like Caleb more. Road 2.
Yeah.
I jumped in front. Oh my God, look at that.
You're in charge of it.
What do you mean?
You're in charge of the mountain. What are you doing? You're in charge of the mountain.
You can't act surprised.
Oh my God, look at that. You do it.
Who saw that?
The present that, it's like when my wife opens up her own stocking. Oh, she put that in there.
It made you feel good, doesn't it? You like it. That's why you're referencing it on TV. We're in the entertainment business, buddy.
Okay, sorry. This was shocking.
Look at the prints. That's the highest he's ever been on the mountain. Row 2. And again, it's not left to right, but if it were, I'd have it like this.
Okay, is it? Yeah, why is it like that?
Why
is it May?
Well, it's not left to right, but I'm telling you, if it were left to right, I might have it like, have you seen Trevor the last month? Oh my goodness, and still atop the mountain despite the loss. They scored 37 points, lost by 1 in overtime. Matthew Stafford. Coach! I know you like to dig at the mountain. It's holiday season.
Yeah, that's true.
Tell me how great it is.
This is, for the way that the league has played out this year, for the way that the quarterbacks have played out this year, the fact that you have Baker Mayfield on the bottom row, which is incredible to me because of how much you love him.
It's been 6 out of 7 weeks, and it cost me $41,000.
This is one of your better mountains. This is one of your better mountains in a lot of ways, in a very unpredictable, strange year in many ways. But I'm going to make one change because I think you are being unfair to Brock Purdy. I think that Brock Purdy now, what's this, 5 in a row they've won?
Yes.
He's got 9 touchdowns and 1 interception in the last 3 games. And then I get that you love what Caleb did after the onside kick, but you can't discount all the things that led up to the point to where we got the onside kick, where he wasn't playing very well. And then you I don't know why you're downgrading Purdy for controlling the game completely from start to finish. And he made a bunch of really good throws in that game yesterday. There were a couple that I would say changed my mind to some degree about his ability. Not completely, but I definitely moved forward. And then if you just compare him and Caleb this season, as much as we can go apples to apples, because I know Brock has played less games, and completion percentage.
That's a big difference in completion percentage.
I know you don't love it, but we're talking about 10 points there. Yards per pass, that's different. So right on down the line, Brock Purdy's been better. And I'm cheering for Caleb, and I think Caleb does a lot of really impressive things and has improved in a lot of ways. But you can't discount what Brock has done just because of where he was drafted.
I moved him up. It has nothing to do with him being drafted.
Excellent, Coach.
Coach, what's the best ability? Put that back up.
Durability?
Well, or availability. I mean, Brock's played less than half the games of Caleb. Like it's if we're gonna do season-long stats, and there's always a tell that there's some funny math going on when instead of we just put up pass touchdowns, we do this weird pass TD percentage that nobody can translate that to.
The reason you do that is because you have to try to do apples to apples, and you can only do percentage when one guy's played 7 games and one guy's played 15.
Was he at war? Why did he not play? Why was he deemed ineligible? Yeah. Was he redshirting? One guy's been there. One guy's been there for a team that's 11-4. The other guy has been there less than half the season, and they're 11-4. It just feels to me.
So therefore, you grade him down because he had an unfortunate injury.
No, it's not that I grade him down. I'm just not going to give someone who has been here half as much time as much credit as someone who's been there the whole time. I think that's fair. I moved him up. I moved Brock Purdy up.
I was surprised to see him that high, but I agree.
I moved him up.
Well,
Thank you,
the fact that Caleb's as high as he is.
I don't know. I mean, it's the greatest
Purdy was so good he didn't
need
need the heroics. You know, he didn't leave room for the heroics.
No,
that's exactly
right. He was just good throughout the game. 60 minutes. All right, I got a few issues.
Oh, here we go.
First of all,
this is not.
First of all.
Go ahead. I'm here for it, Brou.
How is Flacco? Flacco threw one pass, Coach, for 4 yards last week.
No,
It was a hell of a pass.
Right.
Just the
How
old
is he
guy.
on there over Shador?
Brou,
And you
Shador's been
know
really
why.
bad.
You know this because you're a student.
Thanks.
You know why Shador's pass rating is so low because of that interception
Brou, that was his fault.
off. It wasn't a perfectly
He
thrown
threw
pass.
a bullet behind
It
the
was
guy.
beyond catchable. It hit him right here.
Brou, it was
You
100
should've
miles
caught
an
that.
hour behind him when he's running that way. That
He
was
should've
not a
caught
good
that ball.
pass.
It wasn't a great pass, but it was very catchable. I mean, come on. You got to catch that, Judkins. All right, but yeah, so Shador should be on there. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
All right. Now, my real issue is this.
Yeah.
We got to give Jared Goff some love. We got to give him some love. I'm switching him, and this might not even be enough love, but I'm switching him and Aaron Rodgers. Goff your rocker, Nick. You're Goff your rocker.
Yeah.
Grandpa.
Are you calling me Grandpa?
Right.
Yeah.
That's probably why you put Rodgers so high. They played last week. I get it that Rodgers won. All right? You don't like that? That was
I
Dusty.
don't know what that
It
even
was
means.
Dusty.
Is it
Dusty
Phillip
loved
Rivers
it.
or is it a Nick
Dusty
reference?
said it was his best work.
Off your rocker.
He said that direct quote
Rodgers.
might be my best work.
He went to Jared Rodgers.
Anyway, focus on what I'm saying.
Damn, I'm confused.
All right, Jared Goff, they played last week.
Yeah.
Goff had more touchdowns, 3-1. Had a higher pass rating, like 102 to 92, something like that. Threw for more yards. Threw for over 300 yards. All right. Lost because he had 15 yards rushing as a team, and Aaron Rodgers got 230 yards rushing. And so Goff is second in the league with 32 touchdown passes and only has 5 interceptions. I mean, it's incredible. He's second in the league in passer rating with 109. He's third in the league in yards per game, 269. He's completing 69% of his passes. I get it. Like, he's not, there's something about him that doesn't jump, superhero doesn't jump off the screen.
You know what it is.
I'm just saying he should be higher. He should be higher than he is. The dude has had a great
You want him to live with Rodgers.
I'm moving him and Aaron Rodgers, switching him and Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers just outplayed him.
No, he didn't.
What's the
Did
score?
you not hear anything I said?
What's the score?
He threw 3 times as many touchdowns as Rodgers.
Jared Goff
Rodgers
should be
threw
like, hey,
one touchdown.
we don't really only have 15 rushing yards, do we, Coach?
Yeah, so you know
I'd
what?
like
Let
to-
me
I'm
let me
gonna-
throw for 350
I'm
yards.
gonna change the play
which
at the
is what
line
he
of
did.
scrimmage.
You think? Yeah. So
I'm
that's
an Aaron
my.
Rodgers guy all of a sudden. Like
Evidently.
Nick.
Rodgers having a nice year. That's a little too high.
It just feels like I have got to give Rodgers credit for this heater. And maybe it's
They had a
expense
better
of
record
Goff.
this point last year.
Yes, that is true, but this point
forget
last year they were amidst collapse, and this point this year it feels like they are cresting. That's what I would say. And I think they're going to beat the Browns this weekend. This is projection. This is not so much about the Mountain. We'll just say it real quick. I think they're going to beat the Browns this weekend, and I am telling you, the Steelers playing in the wild card round off a bye when whomever they seemingly played a meaningful Week 18 game is going to be so helpful. They win this week. They go back to Pittsburgh. They don't have to play any of their old guys. They then have a home playoff game. If they are playing any team other than Buffalo in round 1, I think I'll pick Pittsburgh.
Texans?
Yes,
Chargers?
absolutely. I think
Really?
yeah. Off a bye with those teams like the Chargers playing a Week 18 war that they lose to Denver, and then all of a sudden they have to go to Pittsburgh. I don't like that. It's not because I love it. I don't like it.
I have a question to start this Mahomes Mountain.
Yeah.
What is the statute of limitations on I told you so's? Because I feel like I need to roll this out yet again. But I'm like, man, I don't know. Maybe I'm getting annoying to the audience or my fellow castmates.
What is the what?
Statute of limitations? Or statute of limitations.
Statute of limitations. It's endless. Go ahead.
Vikings, I told you.
Oh, good one.
I said 14 wins and 4,300 yards. It's nothing to shake a stick at. No. No, it's just the system. We'll offer Sam Darnold some symbolic contract that he's not going to accept to sort of play a game, but we're going to go with J.J. McCarthy, who is injured yet again. Just a little bit of hubris on the Minnesota's Kevin O'Connell, and he can make everything work. Well, let's look at how Sam Darnold is doing. How he did last year, everybody thought it was an aberration. How he is doing this year. Vikings Sam Darnold is 14-3, 12-3. Yards, very similar. Yards per pass, even better. Touchdowns down a little bit, but passer rating down just a hair. Game-winning drives, 5-4. So Sam Darnold's the real deal. And I just think if we're going to have Caleb up, and I don't want to be the Caleb hater, but Caleb had a very pedestrian game outside of the last 2 drives. And it wasn't like, hey, Caleb needs to change his whole narrative. I know there was a little Packers-Bears thing, but this was Sam Darnold's narrative career hanging in the balance, and he turned it around. And beating the number 1 defense, not a defense that was riddled with injuries.
So, listen, I think
want Sam Darnold.
I think your
probably
greater Darnold points are fair. The distinction I would draw is between Caleb's comeback and Darnold's comeback. Caleb had not done anything really well in that game. He hadn't had the disastrous mistakes that had dug his team a hole the way Darnold did. Also, the comeback for the Bears was all Caleb's plays. It was Caleb's play on 4th down.
It was an onside kick.
No. I'm right. I totally agree.
Was he in the kickoff return he's getting penalized for? Darnold is?
I'm not. There's a difference between penalizing someone and not giving them credit for it. The Rashid Shaheed returned a punt for a touchdown, then on the next drive had a reverse that got them down into the red zone, and from that moment forward, Darnold delivered. But Darnold had dug them the hole. Rashid Shaheed dug them 80% of the way out of it, and then Darnold finished the job. Caleb had done next to nothing and then made brilliant play after brilliant play. And so I think that's, I think, at least for me, a fair distinction. Your overall point that we need to retroactively take some credit away from Kevin O'Connell that we gave him last year for Darnold's season is fair, because Kevin O'Connell has not been quarterback whisperer genius this year, and Sam Darnold has been as good this year as he was last year. That, I think, is a fair point. And classic 2 by Kevin Wildes. I don't sign those very often. Eventually correct about Sam Darnold. Good job.
Still not the Sam Darnold guy on the show.
Buddy, you are.
But I do.
You're sending out weird, loving tweets. Why am I rooting so hard for Sam Darnold right now? Is that 2-point conversion the play that turned Sam Darnold's career around?
You act like the 2-point conversion is just kicking a field goal.
Which one? The one that got batted down that should have ended the game?
It's called winning football. Coming up next.
When the holidays start to feel a bit repetitive, reach for a Sprite Winter Spiced Cranberry and put your twist on tradition. A bold cranberry and winter spice flavor fusion, Sprite Winter Spiced Cranberry is a refreshing way to shake things up this sipping season. And only for a limited time. Sprite. Obey your thirst.
This weekend on Fox, Eagles, Bills. That's the game at 4 o'clock. And at 1, you got Jags, Colts, Patriots, Jets, Bucks, Dolphins, Cardinals, Bengals.
And that is a true national game. There's one other game.
America's game of the week.
But even more so than usual. There's only one other 4 o'clock game. Everybody's going to watch that. It's one of the best games of the year.
Yeah. We'll have more on that in just a second, but we're going to start with the Cleveland Browns. Their record is 3-12. Myles Garrett's pursuit of the sack record, excellent. He was credited with half a sack last week, and now is just 1 sack away from breaking the record. 2 games to play. A reporter asked him about his offseason trade request. Remember that? He wrote a nice letter. And his stated desire to compete for a Super Bowl, which the Browns obviously are not doing. Take a listen.
When you went through that trade request, you said you didn't care about records, all that's the Hall of Fame, all that stuff. You just wanted to win. So with 2 games to go, and you guys are 3-12, what's it been like for you?
Next question.
I thought that was a fair question, Brou. And you, from your journalism background, I wanted your reaction to that.
Well, it's definitely a fair question. And I'm glad Myles had like a smirk. I mean, I don't think no comment's the best, or next question, whatever, is the best answer. But he had like a smirk. So bottom line is, I feel you can do both. If I'm a player, particularly a star player, yes, I want to win a Super Bowl. But I also play for individual accolades. So I don't think there's like, from the question, the implication is you're a hypocrite. Like you talked all this stuff, you don't care about these things and you just want to win, and then you stayed. First of all, everybody would have taken that contract, the money he was offered. Mm-hmm. And like I said, I still think he wants to win, but I also do. If I'm that caliber, it's one thing if I'm a role player and I don't put up big numbers, so I'm just trying to win, that's it. But if I'm like that caliber of player, you darn right, I'm trying to get all pro. I'm trying to be defensive player of the year. I'm trying to make the Hall of Fame, all that. So I don't think it's a big contradiction.
And when you look at the way the question was phrased, it was obvious it was trying to bait him to say something. And it was, and I have a lot of experience with that group. Like they can do that in that room. And to his point about winning, you can't say Cleveland doesn't try to win. So they went to the playoffs in 2020. They went to the playoffs in 2023. They won 11 games both of those years. They tried to make a huge move with Deshaun Watson. That backfired, but that's still an indication that winning is very important, that they would make a move like that, extend themselves like that. So for him to say that he wants to win and go back to Cleveland, it's about the money. Obviously, things are about the money, but he has a chance to win there, and they've shown the desire.
Does he really have a chance to win there?
Well, look,
if they get a quarterback,
they were in the playoffs 2 out of the last 5 years, which the Jets haven't been in the playoffs in what, 37 years.
They were one and done in the playoffs. Flacco was the quarterback one year.
Well, Baker was the quarterback
the other year.
Oh, they won with Baker.
And they did make the Deshaun Watson move. It wasn't the right move, but that's a gigantic move to make in an attempt to win a Super Bowl. And he should say at this point, yeah, we're 3-12. Is this record important to me? It is important to me because I have something to do. I have a chance to do something nobody else has done. And I don't think anybody in Cleveland or the organization is going to be mad at him for saying that.
I think that would be a good response. I've been radicalized by the Browns-Patriots game where Myles Garrett wrecked the game. He was unstoppable. He had 5 sacks and destroyed the game. The Patriots won 32-13. And as he goes for this sack record and he's on the MVP ballot, I've been the one saying, they've got 3 wins. This great player is not contributing to winning. And maybe he is, but he's having the greatest sack record maybe ever, and they're stuck at 3 wins. He had 4 sacks against the Ravens. They lost 23-16. He had 1.5 sacks against the Bears, which is really good. They lost 31-3.
Oh, go ahead.
So there is a point where, and maybe it's selfish, and maybe it's just like I want him to be traded to the Patriots. But I do, to be honest with you. It reminded me of Ohtani and Trout. They were on the Angels, and one guy said, you know what? I'm going to leave. And the other great guy always stayed, and we didn't see him play any meaningful baseball, and it's going to be over. So I'll throw this to you, and then I'll let you go. This is Super Bowl appearances by players with multiple Defensive Player of the Year awards, which we expect him to get it, right?
Yeah.
Bruce Smith has got 4, Mean Joe Green, Lawrence Taylor. We have legendary moments of seeing these guys. Reggie White, it's a similar one, Eagles to Packers, of holding trophies. Ray Lewis, Aaron Donald making a huge play in the Super Bowl. I don't want this to come off as being a Myles Garrett hater or critic. I just want to see the best players in the sport.
But he got screwed by who he was drafted by in that regard. And this is where I will defend him for taking the contract.
Go.
He was not a free agent. He asked for a trade. They said no, and you have 2 years left on your deal. And it's the NFL, which means when you're 2 years from free agency, you're 4 years from free agency. Right. So his option, if the argument is he shouldn't have signed the rookie extension in Cleveland, I guess, but to Coach's point, they were coming off good. They had drafted Baker. They were a competitive team. He signs the extension. Mm-hmm. He's then a few years into the extension. It's like, this sucks and we're awful, and the Deshaun Watson thing didn't work, I want to leave. They said no. And so then he can really make it messy and still maybe, like, it has no leverage. He has 2 years left on a deal that he can't even, again, the franchise tag is such an ominous thing that even if he plays it out, they just franchise tag him, it'd be a bargain. Right. He's the best player in the league on defense. So then he's like, okay, I guess the best available option here is to sign a contract, which, by the way, he can demand a trade again, which is, I think, what you would like him to do.
Would be interesting.
But my issue with, like, your bringing up, he had 5 sacks, they lost by this much, and this, I think that is just evidence that every position in the NFL, except for quarterback, and even quarterback to some degree, there is only so much any singular position can contribute to winning. And I don't think you can have a better season as a pass rusher than Myles Garrett is having. And that, though, it's not basketball, and it's not even baseball with a starting pitcher for that day. That there is nothing more he can do than what he's done.
I agree.
And you've got a great amount of curve because so many of those games, they're behind.
Yeah.
So the amount of passes and attempts that he has to sack the passer had decreased dramatically.
That's a real stat, Coach.
So there's that. But the other thing is you never hear people talking about him not playing the run and only worrying about stats. And that can happen too. When a guy's chasing a record, he only does that thing. Then people run at him and they gash him, because that's what he's doing. You haven't really heard people comment that's the way he's been playing it through this late part of the season.
In this letter, the goal is never to go from Cleveland to Canton. It's always been to compete for and win a Super Bowl. I just want to see that happen.
I understand.
And I don't think it's going to happen in Cleveland.
But I guess oddly, KW, I think your real gripe here, this is not good TV, is with the existence of the franchise tag. I think because the franchise tag exists, every great player is so deeply incentivized to re-up with the team that drafts them because they know if I'm a first-round pick and I have to play for 7 years with this team before I can actually get out of here. Mm-hmm. And so I just, that then led to all of this.
There's something to say for the loyalty of the Joe Thomas angle. I get it, and being a hero, and I get that. But just to watch a truly generational player celebrate a sack record as they go to 3-13 on Sunday, I find it strange.
But to Coach's point, that's not every year.
And they've gone to the playoffs more than the Patriots have in the last 5 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, they've
gone to the Patriots.
I'm not saying that.
He's been to the Patriots the
truth.
same amount as Joe Burrow since Joe Burrow's been in the league. That's true, too.
Been to the playoffs.
Yeah, they both been in the playoffs twice since Joe's been in the league.
Making the playoffs and getting beat by the Texans and going to the Super Bowl is different.
Well,
but if he was playing for the Steelers and it's one in the playoffs and out,
I mean, yeah, like T.J. Watt,
he should be traded too, I guess.
I don't know. We saw if Stafford wins the Super Bowl, he was in Detroit, said, you know what, this does not work. Well, he got out of there. But he got out, and now his career is on a totally
Shohei had the contract. He was a free agent.
But we're going to see Mike Trout.
I should have went to Toronto.
All right, moving on. DK Metcalf is appealing a 2-game suspension for this interaction with the fan. Nick, your response to this incident?
First of all, I want to clear something up because we were like, oh my God, he had $45 million in guarantees voided. Here's the deal on that. $25 million of that is his salary next year. The Steelers are paying that. They're not interested in cutting DK Metcalf. So that money is, so now the other guarantee got voided is a money that was only guaranteed for injury and is for 2027. So the only way the void comes into play is if next year, because that's not true guaranteed money. It was money that was only guaranteed if next year he suffers a catastrophic injury. Mm-hmm. So that's a real potential thing, but it's, everyone hopes that if he stays healthy, then he costs himself no guaranteed money. That's first of all. Second of all is this, and this, everyone might disagree with me here, and I'm not saying it applies to that guy in the blue wig. I happen to believe that something when Brou talks about, the good old days, something we have lost in society is a healthy fear. That guy might punch me in the face. And I think the way sports fans often act at games shows what the total removal of that fear can bring about, which is adults acting in ways they would never act in any other circumstance because there's like an invisible barrier. It's like, I know you can't do anything to me. And again, I don't think you should ever be able to stab someone, shoot someone, kick them in the head when they're down. But there are certain things where if you're like, hey, what happened? And you tell me what happened, it's like, and I punch the guy, I'd be like, I'm kind of on your side.
Certainly getting mushed in the face.
Yeah, something like that. So I want to say, I am not someone that believes like sticks and stones will break my bones, words will never harm me. I don't believe that, actually. And I think we've erred too far in that regard. But I have watched the video of what this guy said and did. And I know what Chad Ochocinco reported. The video doesn't support it. If it's true that this guy was using slurs and talking about DK's mother, then I would support DK, even though I think the league's got to suspend him because you have to set the precedent. But I'd be like, I'm on your side. The video with audio that I've watched makes it seem like DK Metcalf was pissed and overreacted drastically to a guy poking fun at him, which again is not a way I think an adult should act in any environment, even a sporting event. But and I haven't heard DK accuse the guy of using any slurs, but it was like secondhand game of telephone. From what I've seen, I think DK deserved to be suspended because I think that he went over there, the guy called him his Decalin, and he was pissed and grabbed him and mush-faced him, and the NFL is going to make it very clear you can't hit the customers. And so that's
yeah, I mean, if he was saying racial stuff, talking about his family, that's one thing, you know. But they even reported at the game, or as it was happening, that the guy had just called him by his full name.
Yes.
And it looks as bad as it looked on the, one angle, but from that angle, it really looks violent. Like he really grabbed it. And so I do think there's a limit to what fans can say. Like I said, racial stuff, family stuff, and all that. But I don't have a problem with heckling and things like, I've been obviously covered the NBA, and you hear all types of heckling. I'm fine with regular stuff like that. And I think you have to, I was surprised it was 2 games, but I think you do have to send a message in this situation, and that's what they did by suspending him. 1, you send a message to the fans that they're safe and we care about you because the fans pay the bills. And 2, you send a message to the players. You can't touch a fan. You can't do this. So I think that's what they did with the suspension.
Look, everybody knows you can't touch fans, and regardless of what they say, they say terrible things. They say, and if you let it bother you, then you're probably going to be bothered at every single stadium that you go to. And the idea that adults go to these games and they feel like it's almost as if the players and coaches have been dehumanized, and you can just yell whatever you want at them. But as a player and a coach, you can't go over and engage that fan. You just can't. It comes with the territory. You may be able to tell security, but at the end of the day, he's going to lose in every possible way. He's going to lose financially. He's going to be suspended time. It's just going to, he'll probably get sued. It's just going to keep building up for that 1 or 2 seconds of satisfaction that just kind of comes with the business, unfortunately.
I look at these things sometimes through an organizational lens as well. From Brooke Pryor, Metcalf, who played for the Seahawks before being traded, obviously, reported the man to Seattle team security in the past. So
that same person?
Yes.
Oh.
So to me, this feels like at least something that should have been flagged for Steelers security. Like, I don't know what is that DK's responsibility? Be like, hey, we're headed to Detroit. I've had an issue with that. Is that the security within the league?
But with
obviously, I'm not saying he should do it, but I hope the Steelers security wasn't like, oh, you had an issue with this guy in the past.
But with that said, they didn't kick the fan out of the game. And again, I'm doing it from cell phone video. The people around did not react as if this fan said something. Like everyone's reaction was not shocked by what the fan did. So
how often does he play that he recognizes this one fan?
Yeah, so
that's why.
That's amazing.
That's why I think it's. I don't know. If I've already reported you I'm not saying it's necessarily anything out of bounds, and there's a lot of, we don't have all of the facts. But the fact is, from Brooke Pryor, he has reported this guy, maybe not for anything racial, but maybe just for general harassment while he's on the field, if that exists.
The Who's Down in Who Newville were making their list, but some didn't know Walmart has the best brands for their gifts.
What about toys? Do they have brands kids have been wanting all year?
Yep, Barbie, Tony's, and Lego. Gifts that will make them all cheer.
Do you mean they have all the brands I adore?
They have Nintendo, Nespresso, Apple, and more.
What about...
So the Who answered questions from friends till they were blue. Each one listened and shouted, from Walmart? Who knew? Shop gifts from top brands for everyone on your list in the Walmart app.
Trust and Will Holiday Bowl, Arizona SMU. This is next year, January 2nd, 2026.
So another way to put it is it's a week from Friday.
But you know, when I write a lot of checks. I always start writing 2025 on it.
You write a lot of checks?
I'm still writing checks.
Yeah.
That I can't cash. We're getting fights. Afternoon headlines brought to you by Hilton. Hilton for the day. Pro Bowl announced today. 4 teams had 6 players. Broncos, 49ers, Seahawks, and the Ravens.
6 players?
Yep.
The Ravens?
AFC quarterbacks, Brou. Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, Drake May. NFC quarterbacks, Darnold, Dak, and Stafford. Shout out to Darnold. Deserves a spot higher on the mountain. Pro Bowl QB. Any issue with this list?
So the 2 things, just very quickly. First one is this. I wish Football Reference and other places would designate Pro Bowls by were you named to the Pro Bowl or were you an alternate?
Yes.
So like you just said, Drake May's not a first-time Pro Bowler because he was like an 8th alternate last year. Like, because this list to me does still matter. Like, were you the initial Pro Bowl list, but then the alternates, it gets all screwed up. My only real issue is I think Trevor Lawrence should be there over Justin Herbert. I think that their years are, if we show you their years, we can show you it's the, you know, Trevor's got him in touchdowns. Herbert has him in rating. Herbert has him slightly in yards. Trevor's been more, his offense has been more prolific. But it certainly matters for this competition how you're finishing. And Trevor, since they played each other, what's up, KW? What's your problem?
Isn't it weird that, like, I just thought it was odd that this is out already as well.
Oh,
this,
yeah.
This
There's 2
shot.
weeks left, yeah.
I'm like, oh, these numbers could move
And then since they played each other, like, the down the stretch run, Trevor's been playing great. Herbert's team's been winning, but prior to last week, he was in the midst of his worst stretch of football. And so, you know, I think I would put Trevor over Herbert.
Yeah, so I had a graphic very similar to Nick's and thinking the same thing when you look at him.
Really?
Yeah, I was gonna.
What a day for the Prince!
Which is crazy, but when you look at them side to side, they're very comparable, and you got to give Trevor a lot of credit for the way that he's kind of dug out of the hole. Now it's a hole of his own making, but he's dug out of it. Where Herbert has had all the love from Jim Harbaugh. I mean, you couldn't get a bigger fan than Jim Harbaugh, and all that promotion where. You know, with Trevor, everybody expects him to fail, and the fact that he's succeeding, I think, is surprising most.
Yeah, look, I like Herbert, but like if I had to pick one quarterback to start a team with, I would take Herbert over Trevor. But obviously, I had Trevor on my ballot, so I'm fine with that. I looked at the NFC, and sorry, Wilds, I know he's your guy, but I think Darnold's 13 interceptions. That is only Tua and Geno have thrown more. And he's only got 24 touchdowns, which is okay, but that's not like Baker last year, 41 and 16. Yeah. And I just think, I mean, look, I like J-Lo, but I'm looking at Goff. And if you put Dak on there, you're not punishing guys because they didn't make the playoffs.
Record. That's right.
So I'm like, Goff's numbers are great. Yeah. And he's got a lot good supporting cast. Dak doesn't with the receivers. I mean, so I just think numbers-wise, Goff's got him beat in everything. Everything.
That's fair.
And they won more games. And he didn't have as good of receivers.
Goff?
Yeah. He's got really good ones, but I take Pickens
and Pickens.
Lamb.
I am so excited for this spa day. Candles lit, music on. Hot tub warm and ready. And then my chronic hives come back. Again, in the middle of my spa day. What a wet blanket. looks like another spell of itchy, red skin. If you have chronic spontaneous urticaria, or CSU, there is a different treatment option. Hives during my next spa day? Not if I can help it. Learn more at treatmyhives.com.
Live from New York, it's a show that is going to find out right now the answer to a question that Danny Parkins posed on social media. Danny, you posed to your thousands of followers, what show should we begin watching? I asked you about it, but I never got an answer. Do you have the show for you and your family?
Not for my family. I started Mayor of Kingstown.
Ah.
Dark.
For you and your wife.
Yeah. Pretty rough. Little prison show. Not for the
Oh, really? Mayor
It's a
of Kingstown?
prison show?
Yeah. My kids are too young. They're 5 and 3.
I thought he was like an
it's not
accountant. Oh, no.
That's the accountant who got sent to prison?
That's the accountant.
Yeah, I forgot.
That's the
I
big
might
ass
check that
black
out. I
suit.
like prison shows.
Yeah, Jeremy Renner.
I thought you were going to tease something else.
What?
The single worst edition of Top 10 Tuesday. Yeah. And there have been some bad ones.
Wow.
This one
That is
I
saying a
feel
lot.
like you might have done to us what I did to Wilds once, which is put a fake list in the doc. Like
I thought it was a perfect list.
Not perfect, but I do mention that.
Okay. All right, good.
First things first, overtime. Today, how will Danny's Bears enthusiasm affect Top 10 Tuesday? Will it ruin it?
Oh, yeah.
He stepped on his joke.
That's not really the problem. The Bears' placement is the least of his concern.
What do you want?
We'll wait. We'll get to it.
Meanwhile, Eagles preparing for the Bills. Are they all the way back or partially the way back? But right now, San Francisco rolling. They put up 48 points behind Brock's 5 touchdowns last night. According to OptaStats, San Francisco is the first team in NFL history with 80 or more points and no punts over a 2-game span. That's good. Here's Brock Purdy.
He spoke to the team and just basically told us, obviously, congrats on making it to the playoffs, and it's not something we can just overlook. Like, it's pretty cool to do that. Obviously, we know what's at stake with the first seed and all that, but we can't, get our minds wrapped around just that. Like, we have to go handle business and play a really good team in Chicago next week, coming to our place. So we have to be locked in. We have to watch this film. We have to get better. So, but it was cool hearing Coach, sort of congratulate us, but also there's a lot of work to be done.
All right, Danny, they've got 11 wins and they control their own destiny, but do you believe San Francisco is a legitimate team?
Well, they're definitely a legitimate team.
No, they're not going to be folded. Do you believe they're financially solvent? I don't know the questions they get in.
They're 1 of 32.
Yeah,
They've won a lot of Super Bowls. No, I was thinking about it. There's no team in the NFL this year that confuses me more than San Francisco. Like, you know how I feel about the Falcons. The Falcons definitely have confused me a lot this year. But for the purposes of this, I do think it's San Francisco because, as you guys have pointed out all day, they control their path to the 1 seed. That feels like it's out of nowhere, but it obviously isn't. They're on a 5-game win streak where they're scoring 34 points per game during that win streak. But the best team they've beaten by far is Carolina. Like, I don't know how much.
During this streak.
During the streak, right. Arizona, Carolina, Cleveland, Tennessee, and Indianapolis. So, like, how much weight?
Yeah, they got their great wins with Mac Jones.
Right.
Well, no, but that's.
They beat
Seattle.
Seattle.
Right, but they beat Seattle in week 1. We tend to not credit week 1.
What is the deal with week 1 on this show?
It's week 1. Yeah. It's just in the
not
Bible.
Sam Darnold's he didn't know where, like, the bathrooms were.
It's in the Bible.
Unbelievable.
Then Mac Jones beats the Rams. And I think their defense is bad. I think Phillip Rivers was carving them up. A couple of weeks ago, Tennessee ran for nearly 7 yards per carry on them, but they couldn't really be competitive because it's Tennessee. One of my favorite bets of the year this week is the Bears 49ers over. Like, I think that's just going to be a shootout. Might take 35 points to win. So I have to give them credit for being in this position, but I think they're a deeply flawed team. I really do.
Yeah, look, confusing I think is the wrong word because Atlanta, I get it because they got a lot of talent. They've played some good teams tough.
I was really confused by the Chiefs this year, I got to tell you. I'm still wildly confused at what happened.
I don't know.
But I think they're obviously surprising. With all the injuries, for them to be in the position they're in is incredible. The offense, and we got to give Kyle Shanahan, we've known he's a great coach.
He's great.
This year might be his best coaching job. Maybe it's not even close.
I think so.
It's obvious, right? But that offense is clicking. And the defense, I wouldn't say bad. They gave up 27 points yesterday to a 44-year-old quarterback. I get all that. But the defense, considering the guys they've lost, I mean, Salah's done a phenomenal job with that defense. Danny, I don't know. Look, I feel like the whole field is open. They have beaten Seattle and the Rams, the teams you think are the two best in the league. And so I have to give them a shot, but I can't wait until these next two games because I think that's really going to tell me where San Francisco is by how they fare against Chicago and Seattle.
So I do feel like I know where they are, which is I think the offense is going to be prolific, and I think the defense, to Danny's point, is going to struggle to get off the field. They have the fewest sacks in the league. That is typically not a recipe for postseason success. Right. However, the other way to explain what's going on is, remember how you correctly predicted that Saquon could have a CMC-esque impact? Yep. I think CMC is having a Saquon-esque impact that was a CMC-esque impact. I think Christian McCaffrey, I don't know what the odds for Offensive Player of the Year are. I know early it was Jonathan Taylor, then Jackson Smith and Jigba. I think that should be Christian McCaffrey's award right now. I think Christian McCaffrey, when you look at what he has done this season as far as be the Niners offense, where he's the second most yards in the NFL, he's the third most touchdowns, and they ask him to do more than any other player in the league. And being sixth in the league in receptions as a back is wild. He's 150 yards, so he might not get there. At being 1,000, be the fourth 1,000 season ever, the first player ever to do it twice. He did it early in his career with Carolina. And the reason that I would think, when we're talking about how wide open things are, they have a coach that's been to multiple Super Bowls. They have a quarterback who, while I have questions about, obviously he was brilliant yesterday, I have questions about where we rank him in the league. He has played in a Super Bowl. Of the quarterbacks that make the playoffs in the NFC, it'll be him, Stafford, and Jalen Hurts. Obviously, Stafford and Hurts have won Super Bowls. And the path going through Santa Clara would be wild.
Yeah,
and
awesome.
they're
home Super Bowl.
Right. I mean, they're I don't think they are going to beat the Bears. I think the Bears are going to be able to move the ball on them. But they're favored. They're 3-point favorites against the Bears. I don't know what the look-ahead Week 18 line is, but I would imagine they will be tiny favorites. It will basically be an essential pick-em at home against Seattle. And so Vegas thinks they have a real shot at being the 1 seed, and that then takes weather out of play, which I think is to their benefit. Like they've got a coach who's been there, a running back who's having, I called it a historic season last week. It's uniquely historic. You know what I mean? Because your point that he's not even averaging 4 yards per carry is obviously correct. And Purdy does look healthy, which was a concern early in the year.
He looks very sharp. Purdy looks pretty
I thought Purdy was unbelievable.
Purdy
deserves a ton of credit for yesterday. Like, I thought Purdy, obviously, he had 5 touchdowns. Purdy was great yesterday.
Can I show you this graphic? Christine, I don't know if we can pull down this graphic. 49ers record, Purdy, CMC, and Kittle.
Oh, she can pull it down quick.
When one person is out, they're 10-15. When all three play, they're 24-5. So we know Kittle, tweaked his ankle to see if he's okay. But that makes me think, they should be favored against the Bears if they're 24-5.
Yeah, listen, injuries have been a huge part of the story for the Niners for the last couple of years. And this year, at this moment, they are healthy offensively. I struggle, and I applied the same logic to the Patriots earlier in the year. Strength of schedule and the victory. I thought it was fair to question with the Broncos. I thought it was fair to question it with the Bears. Like, what do you do with a team that is 7-0 against teams with 6 or fewer wins, but 4-4 against teams with 7 or more wins? You don't get to play the bad teams in a playoff run.
A lot of that.
I have a hard time envisioning, if they're not the 1 seed, them rattling off 3 straight games against good teams.
Isn't a lot of that 4-4 with Mac Jones? And not that he didn't play well, but still, your backup.
Mac Jones split with the Rams.
He was 5-3.
Lost in Tampa Bay when Tampa Bay was good. Lost to Jacksonville.
Because Purdy's 6-1.
Lost to Houston.
Lost to Purdy hasn't played a lot of good teams. Is the point.
I'd rather be 4-4 against good teams, and this is not about the Patriots, I promise, than 2-1. Like the fact that they've played, like we thought it was going to be a cupcake schedule going into the year because Seattle was excellent, the Rams have been excellent, Jacksonville's been excellent. They ended up because they played the whole AFC South, right?
Yeah.
And that division ended up being better than expected, at least with Jacksonville and Houston. So the schedule ended up being tougher, but they do have incredibly tough final 2 weeks. They are alive for the 1 seed, obviously. So are the 2 teams they play the rest of the way. But I think as long as Christian McCaffrey keeps doing what he's doing and Kyle Shanahan's calling the plays, they're going to be a prolific offense. They just are going to be a prolific offense. And then in good weather in their stadium, that's a tough combo. It's different. You have to go to Philadelphia or you have to go to Chicago.
All right. The 49ers will host Caleb and the Bears, who are coming off one of the best victories in franchise history. Let's see how high Danny has Caleb and company on this week's edition of Top 10 Tuesday.
Well, we're going to have to wait a little bit to find out because they're certainly not coming in at number 10. That is the team that we just talked about, the San Francisco 49ers. First time in the top 10 since week 7. Quarterback injuries, defensive injuries, now playing great on offense. Scored on 7 of their first 8 drives yesterday. Some of the best football that you'll see from Brock Purdy. Don't need to spend too much time on it. I told you I'm confused, so I slot him in at number 10. Coming in at number 9, they also could be the 1 seed, the Denver Broncos. Their defense is heading in the wrong direction. And I think their defense is excellent, don't get me wrong, but Bo Nix finally lost the game where he had a passer rating under 85 this past week. He had been 5-0 because he'd been carried by their defense in all those close games. If we can show the defensive graphic for their first 13 games and the last 2, now it's not embarrassing teams that you played, right? You played Green Bay, you played good offenses, I understand that. But if their defense isn't supremely excellent, top 5, I do question whether or not they can make a run through the AFC. Coming in at number 8, the Jacksonville Jaguars. This win streak is incredible. All the Trevor Lawrence accolades that you've been doing, the wig didn't look great though, I will say. But he has been spectacular, and he has eliminated the bad plays and the mistakes and the fumbles and all of that. And Liam Cohen, I think, probably should be the favorite for Coach of the Year. Mike Vrabel is. I'll talk more about that on the show tomorrow. But he has 4 straight games where he has a passer rating over 100. He didn't have any of them before this year. Over 105, actually. He didn't have any over 100 before that. This feels like a very good streak from Trevor Lawrence. I have a hard time believing this is the new Trevor Lawrence.
You should watch him from week 8 of his second year until he got hurt. Unbelievable. That stretch.
That's
a 19-game
I'm not saying I've never seen the stretch
out week 14.
No, you don't have to take out anything else.
Right.
It's an uninterrupted time.
He's never had
you
a good
don't finish
stretch
top 7 in the NFL and MVP without having to.
I'm saying he's never had a good stretch before.
He cooked it now.
You should. I have to interrupt top 10. You should like Trevor Lawrence more, considering in no small part you are married because of Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
He and his wife met bonding over Clemson Trevor Lawrence football. That's a true story, and you've abandoned him entirely.
Well, stop fumbling in the NFL.
He has. He has.
And why? So, number 8. Congratulations. And that's true. Going to the Pinstripe Bowl in the rain against Penn State. Yeah.
That's right.
Should be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Coming in at number 7, the Houston Texans. I think it's the best defense in football by a considerable margin. Like, their pass rush duo is excellent. Their cornerback duo is excellent. The numbers on this are insane. Second unit since 2020 to allow under 300 yards per game and under 20 points per game in a season, and they've done it against an incredibly difficult schedule. Houston's defense has them here, even though, listen, C.J. Stroud, said it for weeks now, you need to be better. You were good against the Cardinals. You were bad this past week against the Raiders. I just think your defense makes you the team that no one in the AFC wants to play. Coming in at number 6, my Los Angeles Chargers. That was the best Justin Herbert passer rating game in 3 years. He destroyed the Cowboys. Everyone destroys the Cowboys, but the Cowboys offense destroys everyone also, and they did it against the Chargers. Chargers defense now 3 straight weeks. They played Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, and then this past week against Dak Prescott, hold him to 16 points per game. Chargers defense has been excellent. Coming in at number 5, I can't believe we're here. The New England Patriots. They just keep getting it done.
Nice kid.
Well, here's the thing.
I'm not happy with 5.
Okay, that's fine. But they are 2 wins away against the Jets and the Dolphins from adding Drake May to this list.
What? Oh,
it's just, I feel about you guys like I feel about the Packers. Like, do you deserve it so soon? It's just Brady. 14-win seasons, and now 2 years in, Drake May, we're already back here. You should have had 20 years in the wilderness.
That's gotta make you feel good.
Just par for the course.
Just par for the course? It's very smug. I'm not happy for you at all.
17-game season.
Get an extra win against
That does make a difference.
I'd like to see I bet with 13 wins, it's just more Brady years, but still.
It's just very upsetting that they're already back here. Coming in number 4, Buffalo Bills. Played with their food a little bit against Cleveland.
A little.
Did they?
I thought it was a big letdown
Or did
spot.
Shador give them problems?
It's a big letdown.
Enough problems.
They won the Patriots game. They got the Eagles game coming up this week. One thing, though, I will say for Buffalo, first win for them this year where they scored less than 25 points. Maybe proving to themselves that they can do it, albeit it was against the Cleveland Browns. Coming in at number 3, figured it was a good time for a little trivia question for you guys.
Seems a touch high.
A little bit.
Touch high?
Touch high.
I don't know.
They just.
I got Magic.
Okay.
They got Magic on their side.
Oh, yeah. I forgot. Danny's
Magic.
big analysis after the biggest Bears win of his life yesterday was Magic.
Okay, yeah. And it was accurate. And Wild said, I don't want to hear about the history of the Bears.
No,
like,
I don't want to hear
neuters
about your elementary.
a lot. It kind of kneecapped my point right before the segment started. 25 or more touchdowns, 10 or fewer turnovers, 25 or fewer sacks.
Can I guess?
Yeah, you can guess. Go ahead.
Well, Caleb's got to be one of them.
That would make sense given that we're talking about the Bears and the MVP of the league.
Stafford.
Matt Stafford. Now, there's a huge discrepancy in the number of touchdowns between these two individuals. But Caleb has eliminated the negative play. He does not turn the ball over, and he does not get sacked. And he's been clutch. So, of course, there is a huge gap between him and Matt Stafford.
Can I give Caleb a compliment, too? He still does wild stuff in the pocket. It's not like he's just all throwaways. He's still evading tackles, but he's getting away with it. So
yeah.
He
is the one.
Also, can I give you a compliment? I only knew because you did your blind reveal, but had it printed off here.
Smart, though.
I like printing my graphics in case they don't fire. It's a nice little mental note for myself. Thank you very much. Good job by you.
He will look at it.
Coming in at number, he cheats off my
He'll
paper.
steal your stuff.
Just like in
I won't steal anyone's stuff.
I am known take that. Coming in at number 2, the LA Rams. Debated this for a long time.
I like it.
And I'll explain why by the number 1 team in just a second, but just kudos to Matt Stafford. 8 games this year with 3 or more touchdowns and 0 interceptions. Next closest guy has 5. He has been absolutely dominant. But coming in at number 1, the Seattle Seahawks. Went back and forth. You could go either way. Obviously, they now have the cleaner path to the 1 seed. Those 2 teams have played twice. We talked about it after Thursday Night Football. They are within a yard of each other. They are within a point of each other. But the turnover discrepancy, Seattle has been that close with 7 turnovers. You could say, well, that's a problem if they're turning the ball over that much. But if they just cut those turnovers in half, they would have won those games comfortably. 3.5 turnovers would be weird.
Turnovers.
Smart out. So I put Seattle over the Rams, but I debated it a lot. But Brou, I assume, as always, perfect list.
No. I kind of feel like Nick. And I just want to bash the whole
I actually thought
First
it was pretty
of all, the love
A lot of
affair you
time on
guys
that
have
list.
with the Rams, all y'all. And then the Seahawks, number 1. As much as Sam Darnold changed the narrative, I still don't see him.
Bro, you don't like the Seahawks or the Rams? Who's number 1?
I'm just saying they shouldn't be.
Not the Bears,
Here's
and
what
not
I'm
the
going to
Bills.
say. And I got so much. I just got
who should be number
general.
one?
I just
Give us
have
who's
general
number 1.
comments.
General
I
comments.
just got general
He doesn't
comments.
have it.
Where are the Eagles?
11.
That's a good comment.
Eagles are 11. But Brou, who's number 1?
Saquon Barkley, 110 yards per game the last 3 games. The running game is coming back. Jalen Hurts, 5 touchdowns, no picks the last 2 games. We know the defense is legit. They are they are a threat. Let's put it that way.
Then who's your number 1?
And then I also think the Broncos and the Niners should be higher. I think they're better than the Texans, the Chargers, who you love, I know, and Wilds, I'm sorry, your Patriots. So I think that those 2 teams, and like I said, we're going to find out how good San Francisco is. Broncos, I don't think defense had a bad weekend, no question about it. Credit to the Jags, though. But I don't think that defense is necessarily on the downswing. So I think those teams should be higher. Who I'd say number one?
Yeah, Brou, you box yourself
I've ran out a lot of things.
That's the problem with Tom.
It just can't be Seattle.
It's probably Seattle. Brou does not like the Pacific Northwest.
Seattle is third in points scored and second in points allowed.
But it's not the Rams, it's not the Bears, it's not the Bills. You won't let it be my Patriots.
There's a reason the quarterback that they have so many turnovers.
Yeah,
the quarterback has 13.
That's what would concern me.
And only Tua and Geno have more.
In those Rams games, 6 of the 7 are Darnold picks. That's what would worry me. I would feel better.
But that, honestly, I view that a little bit.
Well,
You're
he cut it in half.
It's all within a yard. Like, well, how many more drives?
Yeah.
Correct.
Have you done the math on the drives?
Well, listen, part of the Rams' yardage issue is they had a lot of short fields because of the turnovers.
Oh, that makes sense.
That works both ways.
Christina, please put my bar on the screen because I don't have a lot of time.
It's just going to be disrespectful.
No, it's not disrespectful. Oh. Your disrespect is ruining the top 10 integrity because here's the deal. You know it. And by your own explanation as to why you doubt the Niners, you should doubt the Chargers. Who have the Chargers beaten that you think's excellent? Who? The answer's nobody. Their best wins against the Eagles, who you don't think are any good.
I think they're 11.
Okay, well, not good enough to make your top 10.
Right, 11.
Their next best win is against Denver back in September, which, again, you don't think Denver's that good, and that happened when we barely count. Meanwhile, the Jags have beaten, on your top 10, the Niners, the Texans, the Chargers by 29, and the Broncos. All those teams around them. There is zero explanation to having the Jags behind the Texans or the Chargers. And deep down, you know it. But for some reason, you feel the need to be like, oh, the Jags earned some respect by what? Getting the single best win in the NFL this year, going to Denver and dominating them. We were talking about how no quarterbacks could do anything against that defense. Trevor made it look easy. So otherwise, it would be a fine list.
How high do you have the Jaguars, out of curiosity?
Well, how high do I personally have the Jaguars?
If you were doing Nick's top 10, where would how good are they? Like fifth best team? Fourth best team?
I would have them right now 5. I would have them ahead of the Bears, behind the Bills, and probably behind the Patriots. Yeah. I'm doing
I just thought 5v8, I don't think it's a huge discrepancy. To me, Trevor Lawrence right now is on a streak like we've seen Jordan Love go on a streak, Baker Mayfield go on a streak. I need to see it be sustainable.
But you don't for Justin. For Herbert was on a streak too of bad football.
He played broken hands.
Okay, he still does. And then played one great game, and it's like everything's fine. There is just no reason to have the Jags behind the Chargers. There's none. The quarterback's not playing better. The offense isn't playing better. The defense isn't playing better. There's no reason for it.
Sad day for the show, as after the Chargers beat the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes twice.
Yeah.
Out of Nick Wright's mouth. Who have they beaten?
Who have they beaten?
Yeah.
By Danny's top 10. By Danny's top 10, they've beaten one team, Denver. Chargers, the Jags have beaten 4 of them.
Coming up
next.
The
Chiefs aren't a good win anymore. The Ravens aren't a good win. Eagles evidently aren't a good win.
Phillip Rivers. Brou wants him to play next year.
It's not a bad take.
How's he going to do next week? That's next on First Things First Overtime.
Welcome back. I've been looking forward to this conversation with these two gentlemen all day because I could not believe what I was watching. Yes, the Colts lost to the 49ers. Yes, it's their 5th straight. Yes, they are basically mathematically eliminated from the playoffs. But old man Rivers. 277 yards and 2 touchdowns. And listen, I was impressed by what I saw. I will save my comments for after you guys go. Willie, I'll start with you. What did Phillip Rivers prove to you last night?
Well, first and foremost, he didn't embarrass himself. Again, I thought he, once again, his IQ, his grit, his tenacity showed up. You know, Aikman talked about it on the telecast. You know, Robert Saleh was throwing things at him to kind of really knock him off his kilt. And every time Phillip Rivers came to the line, he was a traffic cop. He was putting people in the right position. He was commanding the offense. He was throwing the ball down the field. He was doing all the right things. I mean, after last night's performance, I would seriously have a conversation with Phillip Rivers and see if he wants to come back. I would bring him back. Seriously, because I think he can be a player's coach. He can be a pillar in that offense. You talk about Daniel Jones coming off injury. He can be a security blanket. You have Anthony Richardson waiting in the wings. You can really allow Phillip Rivers to be a big part of your offense next year.
Okay. Yeah, I said when he first started that this was like a Disney movie, and it would be amazing if he could perform well or perform at all. And so he comes out and he's got 2 pretty good performances. And I thought both these touchdown passes were really good reads, really good throws. And then you cut to his family, his 10 kids up in the booth.
There's a lot.
It's a total feel-good story. I'd say the other thing this says is that Anthony Richardson is done with the Colts. And here's why. Anthony Richardson comes back from the eye injury, and they say they've got to get his body right. He's got to get used to football movements. This guy's, what's he, 23 years old? They were willing to get Phillip Rivers off the couch at 44 and put him in a game after a week, and they're not willing to take this guy who's 23 years old and play him or even put him as a backup.
There's more to the story, I agree.
Yeah, so, done.
As someone who's in the take business, this is an amazing story because I feel like there's now no such thing as a bad quarterback idea. Like, this is unbelievable that it is competent. And it obviously speaks to how much of quarterback play is from the neck up. Sure. Because he is smart, he's able to diagnose the defense, he's a very cerebral player, always has been. But so he's 44 years old. Here is a list of quarterbacks younger than Phillip Rivers who have retired within the last 5 years. Ben Roethlisberger, Matt Ryan, Ryan Tannehill, Cam Newton, Ryan Fitzpatrick. I bet you some of those guys think they can still play. Colin Kaepernick's 38. Andrew Luck's 36. Listen, can I show you this was Steve Young. Steve Young to the San Francisco Chronicle. 64 years old is talking about his ability to execute the running game and some passes in the screen game.
Yeah.
Now, he was saying if this was Hunger Games style and if it was play football or death, so I understand that he's not looking to do it. But, like, Tom Brady, 48 years old, has been like, oh, yeah.
Well, Tom's serious. He still feels like he can go.
I know.
Yeah.
Kurt Warner still feels like he can go. So part of this to me is, like, embarrassing for younger quarterbacks, but it's like,
well, that's not fair because the guys we're talking about are Pro Bowl. Their resumes.
Okay, but so can they play forever?
Are like legit resumes. Like you're not asking David Garrard to show up, right? Like you're asking guys who have like
nice drive-by on David Garrard. But no, like I agree. Listen, Matt Ryan looked terrible at the end, so I can't imagine 4 years after Matt Ryan he would look good. But just it made me stop in my tracks and be like, oh, we should be looking everywhere for quarterbacks. Like, you know, like not just like the normal pipeline. He's shockingly competent.
And things have changed significantly since Steve Young played in terms of the protections the quarterback get, the protections wide receivers get, the lack of jamming. There's a lot of things that lend itself to longevity for quarterbacks and for older guys to actually be able to come in and survive. It's the running quarterbacks that struggle, you know, as they get older, have a real problem.
Well, think about it. If Rivers had a full offseason to prepare, imagine what he looks like. Like these are legit conversations you can have because of the last 2 games and how he played. And if I'm the Colts, man, I'm like, hey, let's get you right. Let's get you right. Let's do it. Let's see what we can really do because he obviously can run an offense. He can obviously command that much attention where you look at him as a legit threat.
Well, so it's like Aaron Rodgers years away from retirement. I mean, honestly, like, are we going to be talking about Andrew Luck for the 2030 Colts?
Well, we keep resetting the clock. Tom reset the clock. This is resetting the clock, and what's possible keeps changing too.
I'm not going to shoot down any idea anymore. This is.
I seriously would bring it.
It's a wild story to me. Let's go to Philadelphia. Eagles have gotten they got their second straight win. They clinched the NFC East on Saturday. Jalen Hurts had a nice game with 185 yards and 2 touchdowns. Saquon Barkley probably the bigger story with over 130 on the ground and a score. Some corners of the world believe the Eagles are all the way back. Here's head coach Nick Sirianni.
There's not a secret pill or secret sauce to continual improvement. It's boring and it's a process, and it takes every single day throughout the year. And I think our guys have given great effort to, continue to come together as a team, to continue to pay great attention to detail and get better at that, and and to play with relentless effort.
So I am consistent on this stuff, maybe to my own detriment, but I am not going to give the Super Bowl champs a ton of credit for looking right against the Raiders in Washington, who have nothing to play for. And like Saquon looks really good. And if Saquon has been like pacing himself this year and is going to be peaking at the end of the season, great. Prove it against Buffalo, prove it in the playoffs. But Coach, I'm not going to say the Eagles are back until they are dominating teams in the postseason.
Yeah, when you look at this game, Washington is 31st in total defense, 29th in pass defense, 28th in rushing, 26th in points allowed.
Right.
Okay, so you've got that component. They've lost 9 out of their last 10 games. And then the Eagles come out and they fumble the opening kickoff. They miss 3 field goals in the first half. They get 2 penalties on tush pushes, and they're behind. They go into halftime behind. There was not a lot about that first half where you're like, this is a get-right game. It worked out at the end.
Yeah.
But if this is what right looks like for the Eagles, it's going to be a very short playoff season.
Yeah, I agree. They're 2-2 in their last 4 games. And for me, the only positives are they've been able to walk out the building with a W. But if you even go to that game, Coach, I remember that 3rd and 11, Jalen Hurts had A.J. running down on the left side wide open, and he missed him, right? And so there's things you see where you're like, they're not back, they're surviving. But they're winning, and that's the momentum you need heading towards January. So I'm with you. They have a signature game going against the Buffalo Bills this Sunday. They got to have it. If they're able to stand up against Josh Allen and Bills and play clean football and that had the clunkiness that you talked about, then we can say that there's some spark there.
But I don't know. Like, they're not going to get the 1 seed. Their division's locked up. Like, I don't think it is a gotta-have-it spot for them. I would expect with the Bills' rush defense.
Well, we're talking to style play. You want to see them look like they belong on the same field with the Buffalo Bills.
I agree. Like, if they get blown out, it's sound the alarms. This whole thing is fraudulent. But even if they beat Buffalo or hang with Buffalo, I'm still going to have serious questions about whether or not they can do it in January. They're coming off a 3-game losing streak. Then you beat these teams.
Yep.
You know, it's too inconsistent for my liking.
Yeah, this whole season has been a huge question mark as to whether or not they can actually compete for a second Super Bowl. And I felt pretty strongly going into the year that they were going to be able to come back and be as strong as they were last season. But it's been up and down. You do have to give them the benefit of the doubt when they reach the playoffs because of their experience. That is a huge edge.
That's going to be interesting to me too, though, because the NFC is stacked. Like they're going to have a home playoff game, likely as the 3 seed, and I mean we'll see. They could play anybody.
But they also got to get healthy. Not having Jalen Carter and Lane Johnson is big, so they got to get those big boys back so they can actually make a legit run if they feel like they can get it done.
But they easily could play Chicago. If Chicago falls out, Chicago blew them out. They could play San Francisco, whose offense is rolling right now. Like they're not going to be a big favorite against any team that they play.
But we know Jalen Hurts shows up when the lights is on. That's the one cap.
Yeah,
he has.
I wouldn't be excited in the playoffs to be facing Philadelphia early on.
Yeah, they will have the playoff edge, no question about it. And if we get Super Bowl Jalen Hurts, well, yeah, then everybody is in a ton of trouble. Superlative time coming up, FTF. Time now to hand out some Week 16 superlatives. It's the good, the bad, and the ugly from the most recent week of NFL football. I was assigned the most dominating performance, and I'm going with Trevor Lawrence. Now, Nick thinks I'm a hater. I'm not. He was incredible against Denver. I have just seen Trevor Lawrence go on streaks like this before. I've seen Jordan Love go on streaks, Baker Mayfield. Like, some players are streaky and some players are excellent. These highlights of Trevor Lawrence are amazing. Physical toughness, arm strength, decision-making, accuracy. He's one of the better quarterbacks, I think, of like a right-handed quarterback who rolls to his left and can still throw with velocity. Like I think he is a very, very impressive, physically gifted player. But here's where I struggle with it, guys, and you tell me if I'm crazy. He now has 4 straight games with a passer rating of over 105. Excellent.
Yeah.
No other game this year with a passer rating over 100, and the 5 games before that, they were passer ratings under 90. Like, it's just, he's on a heater right now, but I did think he was dominant against the Broncos, Coach.
Yeah, you have to give him even more credit because it was against Denver and how good that defense has been. And then it was against Denver in Denver, riding an 11-game home winning streak. And throughout the course of that game, I kept thinking, okay, when is this going to turn back into the Trevor Lawrence that we've seen too much over the course of his career, where he's going to throw a pick and it's going to end in a disappointing way? But he rose up, and I thought his placement was excellent. Dealing with the pressure of the moment was excellent. he does have that streaky side to him, similar to Jordan Love, where when Jordan's great, he's great. And when he's not so great, unfortunately, it's much lower than you'd hope it'd be.
Yeah, I would give him the Most Improved Player of the Year award.
Interesting.
I honestly would. I think this game felt like he arrived, especially that everything that was stacked against him. People really weren't believing in the Jaguars, but him himself really elevated his game. And I think we're at the point where he's matured, and we can look at him differently, especially not just because of the game, how he's been playing all year. Yeah, he's been streaky, but the Jaguars are relevant because of his play, bottom line. And so I like him. I think he's big time, man. I like everything about Trevor Lawrence right now.
All right, so that was the most dominating superlative. Coach, you got the vote for most shocking performance of Week 16. Tell us who you got to take us through it.
This isn't an individual. This is a collection of individuals, including both running backs, the offensive coordinator, the head coach, the organization. It's the Detroit Lions running game. And for them to only have 15 yards last week against the Steelers, to me, it's really unbelievable. And I want to show you kind of where this ranks in the history. So in 2007 against the Cardinals, they had -18. 2016, they had 14. And then in 2025, they have 15. So it's every 9 years you have a game like this. Now remember, the Steelers had 230 yards rushing.
Yeah.
These guys had 15. And then let's look at the running backs from 16 versus 2025. So Jahmyr Gibbs, he averages 5.3 yards a carry. Montgomery, he's at 4.6. Where in 2016, it was Riddick and Zenner who were both under 4 yards a carry. So a little bit different package in terms of if you just give the ball to those guys a few more times, we're not going to be having this discussion. I still can't believe this is the numbers we're looking at for the two teams that played on Sunday.
Yeah, I think you also, when you turn on the tape, you watch Derek Harmon and Cam Hayward and them boys really knuckle up against that Lions offensive line and put hands on them, grown man hands, like part-time pastor hands. Like they were beating the hell out that Lions offensive line. And I can understand why they got away from the run. What was confusing is it felt like they gave up too early because the Lions weren't getting blown out in this game where they felt like they had to throw to get back in this game. So that was confusing. And Dan Campbell, his superpower is supposed to be drawing up runs, scheming things up where they can be efficient, at least on the edges. But they got dominated, and I feel like they just gave up too early. I was shocked by it, but I think the physicality scared the Lions.
Yeah, but this is a team that's supposed to be about grown man hands.
Correct.
Like you throw yours, I throw mine, and we see how it works out. And when you run the ball that few times, it just doesn't fit the mold.
The Lions are 0-6 this year when they rush for less than 100 yards. We talked about this after the Rams game. Kind of saw this coming a little bit. The Rams game was weird. They lost a shootout, 41-34. But when the Lions scored 34 points, but only had 70 rushing yards. I'm like, man, I never thought I'd see the Lions have an offensive explosion and not run the ball. That game was weird, though. They had the ball for 51 seconds in the third quarter.
Yeah.
Right? And then their opening drive of the fourth quarter was a 3-and-out with 3 incompletions and a penalty. So for the vast majority of the second half, they weren't even on the field. Like it was a very
had an 8-minute drive in the third, right?
It was just a very weird game. And so they went away from it. Jahmyr Gibbs wasn't involved at all. I agree. Shocking. Now, Coach, you and I took care of ours. Willie. Oh, you had to go negative. We went with most disappointing of Week 16, Willie. What do you got?
For me, it's Baker and the Bucs, man. Look how we thought about this team in the beginning of the season. We were talking about Baker being an MVP conversation. And valid, they've had some significant injuries. Talk about Bucky Irvin. Tristan Wirfs has been in and out of the lineup. Mike Evans, he obviously talked about his injury. He just came back late. But one of the most disappointing aspects of this team has been the defense. When you talk about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Todd Bowles, it's about his defense and how they get after you. They blitz you a lot. They condense the pocket. But they haven't been able to get after the quarterback. And because of the low sack rate, this secondary seems to fall off the face of the earth. You can't find them out there. And I thought one of the catastrophic losses we witnessed was against the Falcons, right? The Falcons converted a 3rd and 18 and then a 4th and 14. They were playing cover 2. And you saw Todd Bowles have that absolute meltdown at the end of the game presser. And I'm saying to myself, man, this defense has really failed this team. Todd Bowles' defense has failed this team. And now we're looking at the Bucs, and we don't even know who they are right now. So I'm highly disappointed in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah, Baker talked about not having a killer instinct. they've got a killer instinct now. They're killing this coaching staff.
Right.
That whole group is not going to stay together when you start as hot as they started. What was it, 5-1, and now they've lost 6 out of 7. And I don't want to lose track of the fact that Carolina's made a really nice jump.
Yeah,
and
but
got a lot of good things, but this is.
But can I, before you go, DP, can I show you a graphic that we built up? Thank you, Troy. This is the Bucs defense. Like, how is this real? Like, this is supposed to this defense is supposed to spearhead this team. When you go down to Tampa, you're supposed to be going against a daunting defense. At Ballot, the linebacking core, Levante David, he's been hurt. They've had some issues, but I've never seen it this bad. And this looks catastrophic. This seems like a crisis going on in Tampa.
Yeah, but I will say for this game, to me, the story was more the offense. Like, I thought Baker was just bad. Like, I thought he was flatly bad. And you mentioned the injuries that they've had. Not really in this game.
Yeah.
Bucky Irving played. Godwin played. Ibuka played.
They had the dogs.
Evans played. Like, they had their weapons. It's a must-win spot for the division. And you allow 23 points and lose? That's not supposed to happen.
But they've been giving up 24 points a game.
And Baker's got the ball with a chance to go down and at least tie it or win it, and throws a pick at the end of the game. That's
I thought just watching the game before I looked into any of the numbers, I was like, Baker was bad. Like he went like that interception that he was, right? It's a miscommunication. It's nowhere close, and maybe assigning blame there is tough, but just they're not supposed to look that ugly with that level of quarterback play and those receivers out there. They're all veterans.
We viewed this team week 5. We talked about a little bit about it yesterday. They went into Seattle and got in a shootout with Sam Darnold and the Seahawks and came out that building with a dub, right? And we were like, oh, man, the Bucs are for real. There's no way. There's nobody beating them in the division. Now we're looking at the Panthers like, okay, well, that was a misfire.
Yeah, that was what, a 38-35 game against Seattle. Yeah. It feels like ancient history at this point. And, now Tampa's got a real problem. Easier path with the last 2, but still easily could miss the playoffs and not even win the NFC South. Pro Bowl lists are out. We discuss if they got it right. Coming up. Day after Christmas.
Look at that.
What a crew.
Festive.
What a crew we have.
Look at Coach. He looks like he's into it.
So festive.
Coach, have you been naughty or nice this year? I don't need to ask Willie. I know.
A little bit of
what?
A little bit of both.
Little bit of both? See? All right. Well, we're working a double that day, too, by the way. All's going to be on from 5 to 6. It's going to be great. Pro Bowl rosters were announced. Quarterback selections, AFC, Josh Allen. They got it right. Justin Herbert. Drake May, Sam Darnold, Dak Prescott, Matt Stafford. Any issues here with any of the 6? Because the selection, Nick made the point earlier, it's correct. The selection still means something. Guys opt out, alternates. I mean, I don't want to take any shots at any guys' names, but like, I remember Mitch Trubisky being a Pro Bowler. Like, you know what I mean? Like, weird things happen as you go down the list. That 6 feels pretty accurate to me.
Yeah, I like it. I don't have any issues with it. I think one of them's not going to play, most likely Herbert because he's dealing with the hand. And I would give the nod to Aaron Rodgers, honestly. I think if he's able to finish the season strong, they win the division, the old man should get the nod.
Trevor Lawrence really has very similar, almost identical stats to Justin Herbert. Now Herbert's got the benefit of Jim Harbaugh's undying love and support, and that's really helped him. Where Trevor's fighting an uphill battle, and people are really starting to see how well he's played here in the last few weeks.
Trevor Lawrence might have the Coach of the Year in Liam Cohn, and I think it was an amazing thing for Baker when he got him there, and it's been helpful for Trevor Lawrence. Justin Herbert doing a little bit more with less, I would say, given the tackles there.
Yeah, he deserves it.
But yeah, good for Sam Darnold.
I'm surprised. I like Herbert too, but give Trevor a little.
I know.
No Caleb Williams mentioned?
Well, he's going to be in the Super Bowl. So he's going to opt out. Enjoy the college hoops.